On Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
His third home run in as many games, and this one gives the Blue Jays the lead.
Well, a magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. It is Stanley Cup Final week. Of course, game one Wednesday, game two Friday, both in Edmonton. And the Oilers will be looking for a much different result, much better start to the Stanley Cup Final as the Panthers go back to back. Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, as always, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50. It's a new month. Maybe you need some help, or you want to continue on a roll. Gregor50 will get your free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. We got lots and lots to discuss. Of course, at a one-on-one with Jake Wallman that will play in the 3 o'clock hour, actually in the 4 o'clock hour today with Jake Wallman. We got Spec David Beard from the Elks will join us as the green and gold. They got a win in preseason. I understand it's preseason, but you know what? When you're an organization trying to build a winning culture, every win matters. And they got the win. They were leading with their first unit, and then their second unit guys came in and they held on to the lead. Actually came back to get the win. And we'll talk to Beard about that. Trey Ford, I thought, had a few really impressive throws. A few little hiccups here and there, as you would expect in a preseason game. Most important for the Elks, they got away relatively unscathed. Can't say the same for the Lions, unfortunately. A scary incident really early in that game when former Elks offensive lineman right guard David Focal broke his leg. It was not pretty. That, you know what? They're a little bit better now. They don't show the replays on that one. His leg bent in ways it's not supposed to bend, and that was unfortunate. Obviously, his season is done. Gord Stellick will join us, talk things around the NHL. Steve McGee, hey, Canada fans. Obviously, the NHL will have a lot of your attention as Edmonton tries to end their 35-year drought, tries to end the 32-year drought for Canada for a Stanley Cup, but also 4 Canadians, 2 on each team, going at it for the Thunder and the Pacers, which will go on Thursday. So you know what? You don't have to worry. NHL, NBA, different nights. NHL starts Wednesday. NBA will go on Thursday and Sunday. So you got games all the time. If you're looking for it, congratulations to London. They win the Memorial Cup. The WHL's drought continues. Haven't won since the Oil Kings hoisted the trophy back in 2014. We'll talk a little bit about the Oil Kings. They're getting down to hiring their head coach. I think it's going to come down here the next week or so. A few names I'm hearing. Rocky Thompson, fairly connected to the Oil Kings. I think he's one of the finalists amongst a few others. So we'll see what happens there. We will also talk about some moves around the NHL, coaching moves, but a lot on the NHL playoffs and, of course, the Stanley Cup Final. We'll get your thoughts. It's Monday. What are you thinking? What are you feeling, Oiler fans? 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. You can text us in our eWell inbox. Your thoughts, excitement, nervous. What is it? Heading into to this series against the Florida Panthers as we welcome in Sean Brown. joins us every Monday in studio, former NHLer, also coach and GM in the AJHL. Brownie, good afternoon. How you doing, my man?
Good. Yeah. Excited. Yeah. Beautiful weekend, windy weekend. Lots going on. My daughter's graduation and her 18th birthday. So it was action packed.
Really?
Yeah. It was really.
Now, did you take her out and have a drink at an establishment?
We went out as a family. My son's back too. So yeah, we went to local, had lunch, asked her if she wanted to have a drink, but she didn't want to. She didn't want to have a drink with us, but she wound up going later in the evening with her friends to, I think, Cactus Club or something like that downtown. And I think she did. I heard she did have a drink. So she's not a big drinker, but
well,
she's
doesn't
okay.
have to have lots. That's okay.
You don't want that. So I'm okay with that.
It's not a bad problem to have.
But she had her fill during her graduation. I will say that.
Oh yeah.
She was having a good time. It was nice to see. All the girls looked good. All the guys looked good. And
yeah. Well, Wendy was telling me Dad was tearing up more than Mom was at the graduation ceremony.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting for the kids. Obviously, it's nice to watch them grow. I thought Bev Facey, they did a super job just in their presentation. They did a great job at the school where they had the school dance. The way it was kind of set up and had the parents kind of walking in, and we were obviously, they made us very involved in stuff. So yeah, it's just I mean, you're going to go through it with Beckett, right? It's fun to watch them grow up.
A few years from now is the elementary school graduation in a bit, but
so it's nice to see. Doing hockey schools and stuff, I get to see a lot of kids, right?
Sure.
And so,
so you know a lot of
I
kids.
know a lot of the kids, and it's just, we're at the point now with, my son and now my daughter, like you go out and you see these kids out, now they're of age of drinking. They're in some of the areas. My wife and I go to Joey's quite a bit or local, and now you see the kids in there, having a couple drinks and socializing with their buddies. And yeah, it's nice to see. It makes you proud to be, involved in the community, but it also makes you feel a little old.
Yeah. I like how our listeners never forget. They never forget anything. Silver spoon grabs.
Well, I'm raising 2 more silver spoons, so look out.
The Stanley Cup Final, and it's you got Wednesday, Edmonton. Tomorrow's media day as the league will invade Edmonton. Right, the Panthers the Panthers will arrive later on tonight. I remember last year the Panthers had a pretty hefty fine because in between games 2 and 3, if people recall, they want you to trek because it was Saturday, Monday, and then the next game was Thursday. But the Panthers didn't travel on Tuesday. Or no, they didn't travel Tuesday. They came in late Wednesday. And that was a no-go.
Yeah.
So the Panthers, pretty hefty fine. So they will be arriving on time today, I'm assuming. So they'll be here tomorrow for media day. And, the Oilers didn't practice today, which is not a surprise to me. You're not going to practice 4 days in a row when you haven't practiced forever. So they have a little bit of, Jake Wallman was telling me how, like they went over kind of some pre-scouting and tendencies and stuff like that. And it was interesting. He described it how it's kind of like a test. You have something little new and you kind of study for it and then you're ready. You don't overdo it, right? Like, Florida, how they play, but it's just little mental refreshers in the classroom / video room leading up to the Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I love that kind of part about the game, as far as, the attention to detail. And these guys are so well prepped, so well coached that there really aren't any secrets. And I mean, that's what makes it that much more impressive when you see McDavid and Draisaitl and these players able to do what they can do when everyone knows what their skill set is and their secrets are, and they still are able to do it. So good on the coaching staff. They've done a tremendous job, and now it just kind of comes down to the players and the execution. And I think all that is great, but I still think overall the ability of a pro and a good hockey player is to be able to play the game and make those adjustments and make those plays when they see them, because that's, you can't teach that. You can't prepare for that. And these guys, are all elite NHL hockey players because they have that ability to make those reads quickly.
Yeah. No, and nothing gets bigger than this. I will sense there's a lot more calm around the Oilers, and rightfully so. They've been here, done that, right? Obviously, they didn't get the result they wanted a calendar year ago, right? The Stanley Cup Finals started on the 8th, so it's not a full year that they'll have to wait, but pretty damn close to start it again. And some would argue that the Oilers didn't really start in the Cup until the 15th because they were down 3-0. So obviously they don't want that to And again, there are a lot of differences. Now they're at home. They started on the road. It's just, I was just talking to one of the players how today it is different because, you've been here, it's comfortable. Your family comes in. Some families arrived, earlier. You get it all set up. You don't have to worry about it as much. Whereas before you're in the series and people were texting, I want to get back for game 3. Just small little details.
Yeah.
Where this is just, there hasn't been as much stress. What Leon Draisaitl said yesterday, he goes, man, that Vancouver series aged you a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, you were up and then you were down. You had to come back 2 different times in the series. And, there's Canadian teams. You just felt like a lot of angst and pressure in that series. And they don't want to downplay it, but to me, it just illustrates how much they've dominated this playoffs, that you can go to the Stanley Cup final and not really feel that stressed yet.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. And they have a lot of experiences and, they know how to handle, the different situations on the ice. But more importantly, I think it's maybe underestimated the pressure of, family and tickets and taking care of people. So not only, do the players have a better idea of how to handle that, but I think spouses do. I think as an organization they do, because it's a lot on a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And, I obviously never got to this point in a playoff round or ever experienced anything like this, but I do know when people have expectations and people are calling you and, and to no fault of their own of just, wanting to see you and to share in this special moment, that it's challenging because it does take a lot of focus and a real commitment for these guys to be able to play and perform at the level with everything that's going on. So, like you said, everyone has this experience behind them as an organization, and now they have it as players, and they're going to be better equipped. But so does Florida. That's why this is going to be such a. It's going to be no one, obviously over the weekend, you're running into lots of different people and everyone's talking hockey, who do you think's going to win? And everyone's giving you their predictions. Sure, yeah. And everyone's got an opinion and nobody's right or wrong, but really no one knows. Like this team is different. They're playing with such confidence, and I like the skill. I like the grit. I like where Stuart Skinner's at. And, I guess the biggest separation for me between the two teams is you got the 2 best players in the world that are highly motivated. I don't know if they're, for as well as Florida's coach with Paul Maurice and his staff, I don't think there's anything you can really do when it comes to actually playing. Because these guys, like I said earlier, what makes them so special is you can have structure and you can have a system. These guys, when they're on top of their game, can break that system.
Yeah. No, that's fair. A healthy Evander Kane brings them some swagger that they didn't have last year. Right? Yeah. I think Trent Frederick, I look, the Wallman Klingberg pairing, just, top to bottom, I think Edmonton's defense, I will give them the advantage in this series. Like if I'm going pairing by pairing, I think Edmonton, 1 through 6 has a better defense core. They're much more mobile than Florida. Now, Florida, Kulikov can bang for sure. You're going to have your head up when he's on the ice. He is not afraid to take a healthy run at guys. Mikola's playing exceptional, him and Jones. I'm kind of curious if it's Jones. Obviously, Gustav Forling's an excellent skater. I think he might get the kind of switch and match between him and McDavid. But, the orders, I look at this series, and the key for me is going to be who is going to get that Marchand Lundell line, at least the run, because that line's been great. Mm-hmm. And I think we might, because if we assume that McDavid and Draisaitl are splitting their time against Bennett and Barkov, then that means I think it's more the Janmark can skate incredibly well. I think the Janmark, Arvidsson, and Podkolzin line, even though Connor Brown's an excellent skater, I think we might see them.
Well, and I like them too because Janmark's physical, he's tough, and obviously Podkolzin has taken his physicality to another level. But I got to say one thing that I was thinking on the way here. The one thing that is hard to find in today's game that I like is, that I think is going to be the difference is a guy like Sam Bennett, right? Not only is he tough, and maybe I'd like to hear your opinion on it, right? He's physical, he's tough, but he's mean.
Yeah.
Right. And he's not, he's going to look to hurt you. And there's players that play tough and there's players that play physical, but there's not a lot of guys that are really mean. Mean in the sense that, he doesn't care if he's played minor hockey with you. He doesn't care if you're friends. He's on a mission. I'm curious to see how he plays and who he tries to more or less. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't try and take someone out and one of the better players. Does Edmonton have that guy that they got guys like you said, Frederick, that play tough, and Kane? Are they mean? Are they mean that way?
Kane is
mean.
I think Kane's pretty aggressive.
I think he's definitely tough. He's tough, but Bennett, he's probably tougher than Bennett. But I think Bennett is like, he's mean. He's dirty.
Yeah.
He's dirty. And he's going to try and knock you out of the game.
Yes.
Out of the series.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do they have a guy like that? Do you need a guy like that?
I don't know if you do or not. I think if the situation presents itself, Kane will run someone for sure. Like Darnell Nurse, I don't know if he meant to do it, but he turns out might have broken the foot of Rupe Hintz, according to everything there. Now, I'm sure if Darnell slashed him 100 times more, he might not get it on a perfect spot to break a bone there. Because we see guys slash all the time.
Yeah,
right?
that was
what Bennett does is, and I know they're calling it in Carolina and Toronto, they call it the Bennett bop, where it comes in and bop,
secretly
right?
dirty.
Secretly dirty. You know who's secretly dirty?
Who?
Is Matthias Janmark. Watch Matthias Janmark on. Now, he's not the Bennett bop.
Yeah.
But Matthias Janmark is secretly dirty.
Okay.
Yeah. Not to the level of Bennett. Like Bennett he has a look. You're right. Like he looks right through you sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like he looks, a little bit like, is this guy out there or not? But I think that's why Evander Kane healthy, we saw what Kane did to Tkachuk. Now, Bennett's obviously a lot tougher than Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Tkachuk's a little bit more skilled. I don't think there's any debate on that. But Evander Kane in that Calgary series, like where Kane's good at is the verbal warfare, right? Like he will go in areas and say things and it doesn't bug him. Where some guys, Brownie, I'm sure you played with guys, like some guys get rattled when someone's chirping you.
Yeah.
Like it impacts.
Well, and the fact that like not only does it not bug him, or not only can he do it, but he can do it in a way that it elevates his game, right? I found that some guys, and I could never do it. I just could not do that. Because I felt like it just distracted me and took me away from my game.
You couldn't chirp.
Not in a way that I was too black or white. If I was going to talk to you or chirp you, it was just, something has to happen. Otherwise I'm holding on to this. Where he's able to chirp and get involved. And that's an amazing skill because I don't think there's a lot of guys that can actually chirp and emotionally get into those type of altercations without it affecting their game. Right. And Evander Kane has proven that he can do that and elevate his game. And he's obviously a guy that can do it and back it up too, which helps a lot. Right. So, and that, Florida's got a number of those guys that's why this is the perfect mix of skill, toughness. And, this is what, is going to make this series, so interesting. And so it's going to be a fine line, I think, between who actually wins. And like I said, I think it's going to come back to like, who's willing to do that, just that tiny bit more.
Yeah. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, 2 Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Got a few tags. Hey guys, why the break between games 3 and 4? TV and the NBA. The NBA has a game on the Wednesday. It's that simple. You're not playing Monday, Tuesday. So you just go Monday, Thursday.
So it's a smart move too, right? Is not to, you don't want to compete with the NBA.
No, well, they kind of, the TV schedule sets it out. And the NBA, both leagues would be stupid, right? You want to have, if you're a TV broadcaster, you want to have as many nights with sports, championship games. So you have, the NHL goes Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Thursday, and then TV wanted the Saturday. They didn't go, I know people are like, well, why do they have the extra break and it's non-travel day? Teams have traveled from east to west for decades in the Stanley Cup Final. I know people are talking about, oh, this is unfair. Who's it unfair for? What are we talking about here? You're telling me that they can't play on a Thursday in Florida and then play on a Saturday in Edmonton? They've done it for years. Years. This is not a big deal. Don't make it more than it is. It comes down to TV. But it's all, they used to play the first round Monday, Tuesday, day off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay? So stop it. Anytime I want to hear, well, the players are so much better today. Oh, yeah? well, then let's see them play 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, let's stop. They'll be fine. The
any-
players don't have an issue. No fan should have an issue.
If anyone's been on one of those chartered flights and to see how well they're taken care of too, like
Yeah.
flying's not great, but the way they fly,
Yeah. You'll be okay.
they're getting taken care of.
Yeah, I think so. 2:20 coming up. Stellick, we got McGee in the first hour. Later on, George Larac, David Beard, Speck, much more in a busy Monday edition of the Gregor Show, done by PlayAlberta.ca. Also, we might, if we have interest, to do a lottery draw for the pair of seats to game 1. Let me know you're interested. You know how we do it. We do a lot. Tickets are pretty darn expensive, so we'll do it for charity because. Yeah. Now, unless there's somebody out there that wants to pay the $2,400, that's face value, $1,200 a ticket, and that's not even club seats. Those are just lower bowl seats. It's crazy, but we'll probably look at 12 people to do $200. If you're interested, let us know. 833-401-1440.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Mr. Rooter toasts the newlyweds.
A relationship is like a hot water tank. It brings warmth, but only if you start with a spark. Your love is the pilot light, and the burner is your love growing from that tiny spark. And the anti-corrosion anode rod is the sacrifices you make for each other to keep things from getting all gross and crusty. May your love last as long as a Mr. Rooter workmanship guarantee. For life.
For a plumber you'll keep for life, call Mr. Rooter.
Legend has foretold of a smoothie so delicious and refreshing that it could quench the thirst of a fire-breathing dragon.
But it's also a great pick-me-up after a workout. The new Dragon Slaya smoothie from Booster Juice, a legendary blend of dragon fruit and mangoes, destined to be your next obsession. Try it today along with the new Dragon Booster Ball and the Pink Dragon Booster Mixer.
3 epic menu items to conquer your cravings. Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
April showers brought huge deals to Wolf GMC Buick. It's truck month, and we froze our prices on in-stock inventory to save you money. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on some of our most popular Sierra pickups, or select up to $8,000 off on these amazing trucks. If you're in need of an SUV, good news, we have a great selection of Buicks and GMCs. Plus, Costco members may be eligible for an additional $1,200 discount. What are you waiting for? Spring into Wolf GMC Buick.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Centre's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Your Cooperators Advisor can help find home and auto insurance that are uniquely you. Like the, I sure do love a great deal, and that's why I bundled my home and auto insurance plan. Talk to a local advisor today and save up to 15% when you bundle home and auto insurance that are just right for you.
Looking for a local Cooperators Advisor? Give Camrose Insurance Financial Solutions a call at 780-672-9251 and see the difference a personalized plan makes. Cooperators, investing in your future together.
A fire ban is now in place for northern and central parts of Alberta where wildfire danger is extreme. Because of hot, windy conditions, wood-burning fires are not permitted on public or private land. For more information about bans or restrictions in your area, visit albertafirebans.ca. To report wildfires in the forest protection area, call 310-FIRE. That's 310-FIRE. A message from the government of Alberta.
What's that?
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton. The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.226. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. The Gregor Show is always presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca. It's time now to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, one of Alberta's most diversified electrical contractors, 4 divisions. They keep expanding. Now even come out and help you with the loader. Anything that you need electrical work, you need the big boom truck, bucket truck. They have it all. All their technicians fully trained and informed. Check it out, actionelectrical.net. As Gord Stellick, former NHL GM, now a host on SiriusXM, joins us. Gord, welcome back to the show as we are in Stanley Cup final week. And it's Monday. These two teams, something we rarely see back-to-back in the Stanley Cup Finals, only happened twice since the league expanded to 21 teams back in 1979-80. What's your first inclination of the series? How do you view it?
Well, Jason, Sean, great to join you. And Edmonton, certainly the envy of all other Canadian-based NHL cities. So that's just kind of neat. My first take is deservedly back. I mean, 2 heavyweight teams, 2 teams that have done it the right way as far as they've developed things and then, developed into real strong playoff teams. And I'm hoping for the same, looking forward to the same series like last year because it was great. And I'm just thinking there's going to be a different outcome, and that's no slight against the Florida Panthers.
Gord, I got to say, before I ask you a question, I got to say I'm excited to be on the radio and my dad was a big fan, 590 listener back in the day. He's too cheap to subscribe to SiriusXM, but I'm excited to be on with you. When you look at the Dallas Stars and Pete DeBoer's decision to pull Jake Ottinger after 2 shots, 2 goals, do you think there's going to be any fallback? I mean, to me, it just seemed like the bigger problem was the lack of scoring 5-on-5 with some of their top players.
So I got to tell you, Sean, before you said that, I was just going to mention it was a real pleasure meeting your dad at Cops Coliseum once. I think it was an NHL neutral site game I was doing or whatever. And then he was a somewhat regular caller and a very good caller to the fans. So we appreciate all the support. So please give him my regards. Funny about the goaltending. And, Pete DeBoer kind of had that with Marc-Andre Fleury in Vegas, with the most social savvy agent, when Alan Walsh was kind of made it a little bit more highlighted. I'm a little curious. And Sean, you're the ex-player. And hey, first of all, Pete DeBoer, what can you say about his track record? I mean, the guy wins Game 7s. The guy's a great coach. The guy's seems like a great guy as well. I don't know. Sometimes it's not what you do; it's the way you do it. Thought Ottinger was a little embarrassed by it. After a credit to Edmonton, because Pete DeBoer kind of re-educated everybody that Stuart Skinner's been viewed as the guy that Edmonton's got. The other team has the strength in goaltending whenever it's Skinner and the Oilers. Well, Pete DeBoer reminded him it's 2 playoffs now in a row that Jake Ottinger and Dallas got out goaltended. So I can remember with Roberto Luongo, something happened and started going south, and then he talked about his contract sucked and it took a while to get traded. So we'll see. I think if you deal with things honestly and there's no hard feelings, then should be fine. But man, a new 8-year contract kicks in for Jake Ottinger next year. So you gotta hope it's going to be remedied. But I didn't think it was the best way to handle things.
Yeah, it was. To me, it was just in the moment. And I think clearly he was thinking even before the game started about going to Casey DeSmith, which I understand in a sense, right? Like, it'd been 7 games, Ottinger, just the Oilers had his number. So I think the pull was almost like him kind of being mad at himself for not doing it to start with. And I know that they weren't bad goals per se, but if you look at the numbers from Steven Valiquette, he says you score on a breakaway 33% of the time. Right now, Matthias Janmark doesn't score on a breakaway in the regular season, but he does score in the playoffs, it seems. So, I don't know what it was, but I think DeBoer was partly mad at himself for not going with his gut of starting Casey DeSmith.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I never like that expression, being on a short leash. Like, we'll talk about it and go, well, so like Stuart Skinner's in goal tonight, or whoever's in goal. Pick anybody out. Connor Halley, but he's on a short leash. How do you like to go through life on a short leash? If you're going to be on a short leash, start the other guy. And I think, to your point, Jason, it's probably a good one. But he also didn't even communicate that, okay, when you call the timeout, get Casey DeSmith stretching, okay? Like, make the backup goaltender know he's going in, and you don't have to keep the starter with kid gloves, but make the change. It seemed it didn't get communicated to either of them at the end of it. So yeah, I don't doubt what you say. Hey, let's face it, there's other things that came into play. They didn't score enough goals too. They did not. Dallas Stars did not score enough goals. And you get, and this is what I really like about the Edmonton team. Like, you get 4 goals from 4 different lines, 5-on-5. Man, oh man, that's what reeks of playoff success. And really, the 2 best teams that have done it in 2025 are playing right now.
Gord, you were in the hot seat in Toronto for a number of years. You know what it's like to be in that market. And, Florida, when they beat out the Maple Leafs, a number of the Florida players kind of talked about, the difficulties of playing there. Can you talk about that? Is that fair, or are these guys professionals and get paid for it? Where do you come out on that?
Man, oh man. Now, I'm biased. Okay. I'm biased, because I just think there's no better place to play, like whatever it may be. And because I'm a Toronto kid as well, right? Edmonton's a great place to be. Florida's a great place, but it was, and honestly, Sean, it was almost like these guys they were almost patronizing statements. I think they meant well, but it sounded like house league, like it really came off like just because they kicked their ass in game 5 and 7 at Scotiabank Arena. And 2, I did not hear from within the Leaf organization, so I'll give them credit. All I can say is, you look back, the Leafs are one of 3 teams that have not made it to the Final Four in the last 23 years. And the other 2 are Columbus and Seattle, who hardly been in the league. Okay, that's a big stat. We're not talking about not winning a Stanley Cup since 1967. We're talking about not being in the Final Four in the last 23 years. Now, before that, they were in the Final Four 4 times in 10 years under Pat Burns and Pat Quinn. So Matt Sundin and Doug Gilmour and Wendell Clark and Curtis Joseph and Darcy Tucker and Gary Roberts, hey, they kicked ass. There was even in some ways more in your face pressure. Because, back then you weren't insulated. You didn't go to underground parking. And I'm not knocking that. That's the way it should be nowadays. But, they also didn't have the pressures of social media. Like that's a whole other different element in all 32 markets. But, I love places like Toronto or the New York Yankees or the Boston Celtics or the Dallas Cowboys. And, you want people that will embrace playing in those kind of markets.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was fascinating when he said, "Hey, change the DNA of their team," which, some guys are, playing in the market's one thing, Gord. I just think I really put a lot of the emphasis on the organization, that it took them how many kicks of the cat to realize the makeup of their big 4 isn't good enough in the playoffs. It's not that each individual isn't good, but the 4 together, they don't have, to use like a dog. They don't have a guy who's got a real high level of super competitiveness, who's physical, who's mean, who brings a lot. And you know what? It doesn't always have to be your best player, but then you have someone who plays like that. Matthew Tkachuk plays that way. McDavid has it. McKinnon has it. Draisaitl, Crosby, Ovechkin. You go down the list, and Toronto, just none of their guys have it alone. I think they need someone to learn it from, and that's why I think that to me, they have to make the change. The question is now, you'll probably lose Mitch Marner for nothing. So, and Mitch Marner's a really good player, and you're just going to let him walk. And like I look at Colorado, they let Mikko Rantanen and they traded him. And even though they got pieces, it's still a downgrade. Like that to me is going to be the challenge for Toronto now, is where they finally decide we got to make a change. They're going to do it all the wrong way because they're going to lose Marner for nothing.
So, yeah. And again, Marner controls that as well. So, and you know what? it's interesting because Brad Trelevian, he did not say, we beg you to come back, Mitch Marner. He mentioned that DNA thing. And you're like, Kyle Dubas every year talked about the process. Every year. Now, you guys were talking about a different time. So when I was GM, and this isn't what was me, you kidding me? I was the luckiest guy in the world. But same as when you were in anywhere else back then, you walked out of your office and there were 27 media there, right? So meanwhile, Kyle Dubas, the previous general manager, who would say that. I mean, he was sites. He talked media less than Joe Biden did during his presidency. Okay, you hardly ever saw them, right? And then they got away with this process thing, the process, and Mitchie and other guys are taking too much crap on social media. No, be accountable. How come you blew it against Columbus? How did you blow a 3-1 lead against Montreal? The process. And finally, give Sheldon Keefe credit in 2024. He just said, look, well, I paid the price. We haven't got where we should have in the playoffs. And people loved hearing about the DNA thing now. Now, you're right. Mitch Marner's going to walk for nothing, but you can also make a trade, say, for argument's sake, say Vegas. Now, William Karlsson's a player. It's not like they're going to cry to see him go, but you could get a player back and a draft pick, whatever. It's not going to equal Mitch Marner. But you know what? With or without, I can remember an old executive. Some of the old lines, you look at certain things and they're dated. They were never right. But every now and then you kind of go, hey, we can lose with anybody, right? So kind of like things now that's a bit inaccurate to be that flippant. But hey, whatever. They have not been able to bring it in the playoffs, and it just so happens that in this case, Marner's contract is coming up now. Like if it was a Nylander contract coming up, that they would be thinking differently about Nylander, or Nylander would be thinking. It just happens the timing, and the clock has struck 12.
Yeah, Gord, I expect this to be a physical series. I think the Oilers are in a great spot with Kane coming back. No one really knew or what to expect from Kane, but you got Kane, Podkolzin, Janmark, Frederick. But on the other side, you got Tkachuk and you got Bennett. You've been at this a long time. To me, the difference between Sam Bennett and the other guys is he's mean. Is there a difference? And is there any players, that when you were involved with in your different positions that, there was other guys that were maybe tougher, but there were certain guys that just were mean?
Yeah, boy, you love the mean thing. That's an interesting component. Again, Darcy Tucker wouldn't be taken as mean, or Ty Domi as mean. It's funny. It's a different, like Gary Roberts had that. I think Gary Roberts was the one that maybe a little bit down on mean, but just that kind of thing that on the playoffs. And back then it seemed every playoff, he didn't wear a shield. He was playing with two black eyes, and just every hit got finished and particularly those Ottawa series and that there was that kind of edge. But I think you go back to there really isn't a role for a Ryan Reeves type nowadays, in that as much. It's more about having those guys all being physical, the collective physicality of the team. And you don't necessarily have to be mean. The fact that Bennett, if he's meaner than Tkachuk, it doesn't really matter. They just got to whack. They got to whack a physical hurt. That's what they do. And just ask Chris Tanev. And that's what you do in the playoffs, right? Because you're playing the same team game after game, you're extracting a toll. So you go full bore to finish all your hits. And that's also what Edmonton's got as well. And the other part, what Florida's got 19 guys that scored a goal. You can only dress 18. And I think Edmonton's about the same. Like you've had that kind of depth. So you've got that kind of depth, I think, in physicality, and you've got that kind of depth in contributing offensively. So shaping up to be a great battle. So I don't care who, one thing about mean, maybe, Nazem Kadri, but look what it did for him. He got suspended twice, but he wanted, to his credit, he won a Stanley Cup in Colorado. So that's where you got to be careful about keeping mean and keeping it within the ice surface.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But the old adage, man, I'd much rather tame a stallion than whip a donkey. And, I think that...
So what is Sean Brown? A stallion or a donkey? What are you saying?
Which one am I?
Brownie's more of a gelding now.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
When he played though, Brown even said himself, and I liked his honesty. He goes, for him, he didn't want to get involved in that because he felt like he couldn't. Some guys have it. Like some guys can, and you're going to go over the edge every now and then. You can't play to the line and never cross it. And I think you have to, as an organization, say, you know what? We're okay with you crossing it once in a while. You just can't cross it all the time.
okay, what do I wear to my grave as a general manager?
Yeah.
The Russ Courtnall for John Kordic trade. Okay. And there's there were a lot of things about it. There was actually, it's Russ's birthday today. Happy birthday, Russ. And I've remained great friends with Russ, and I love Russ. And there were other reasons about making the trade. So all I'm saying is back then, again, a different era, there were a lot of positives about John Kordic. Trust me, there were a lot of positives, a lot of skills. But when, so there was that for a while. And actually, when Montreal won the Cup in '86, he had that about what, say maybe ramped up what Sam Bennett brought. And he was able to do it on the ice. And then for a lot of other reasons, it crossed the line. So, yeah. So I don't know whether you be careful riding that stallion, okay? Because all of a sudden, two hands on the saddle or whatever.
Well, he can buck you off sometimes, Gord. That's what you're telling me. I totally get it. But a donkey can be pretty stubborn too. So all depends how you look at it. Give me your thoughts quickly on the Lane Lambert hiring in Seattle. What do you make of that one?
Okay, by the way, I got to be with your gelding Sean Brown in the corner having a drink while you ride the mechanical bull. Okay, that's what we're going to do.
Farm guy here, buddy. I rode a few stairs in my time. I've done that a few times, so I'm all right on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I like not having to think you have to make a splash, right?
Yeah.
I like not saying, oh, we got it, because, and to credit, like, coaches, it's an unfair label getting recycled because look at these guys like Paul Maurice and Bruce Cassidy. It's not recycled, and Rick Bowness and on and on. I mean, these are guys that you're gleaning the great quality experience of what they have.
Yeah.
There are other cases sometimes where it's time and probably they get one or two more coaching gigs when they don't have their A game anymore. So I like someone getting a second chance, like Bruce Cassidy's first time in Washington didn't work out. Yeah. And then look what happened in Boston. So I know he's extremely well thought of. And so I like that hiring. I'm really disappointed in Seattle. Like, I mean, I really, you're pulling for these expansion teams, and they've been in the shadows of Vegas, which you knew they couldn't equal that. But man, oh man, they've taken a couple of steps backwards. I mean, Shane Wright at least was a positive last year, but I hope they get back on track.
Yeah. And lastly, Mitch Marner. Where do you think he goes, Gord?
And by the way, I love Mitch Marner, okay? So 32 teams want Mitch Marner. In this case, 31 are not the Toronto Maple Leafs. Answering your question, I think for somewhere like Vegas, I think teams are going to be real aggressive. And then, like I said, if they can work a trade with the Leafs understand they're not getting anything close back, but you could work something out. You get Marner that 8th year. That's really important, right? Because you're never going to get that 8-year contract again. Okay, so once it hits July 1st, it's 7 years, and that's the way it goes. So that 8th year at whatever top dollar becomes, a factor. And the Leafs actually blocked Zach Hyman getting that in the Edmonton. They wouldn't work out a deal before. So I'll go with Vegas as a starter, but the usual suspects, whether it's Dallas, whether it's Florida, it's got to be a team that's going to win. Has a good chance of winning Stanley Cup. Like he's not going to go to Chicago and be part of the rebuild there. He's already been a part of that here, and I still think it's not a very big chance, but there's an outside chance he stays in Toronto.
Ooh, geez, that'd be big. They got to make one move, but I agree. Like losing Marner for nothing just doesn't. That's going to be a tough hole to fill. No question. I know they haven't had the playoff success they want, but still, to lose a top player for nothing is going to be hard to replace for sure. Gord, who are you picking in the Stanley Cup Final, and how many games?
Well, I always pick 6 or 7 because let's face it, that's what you want. And I am, and really, like all of Canada, it's kind of neat to see in that, there's arch rivalries, but there's a sense now I think most people being supportive of a Canadian-based team once their team gets eliminated. So I've got that in me, but also I'm genuinely picking Edmonton. And I picked 7. I know it's going to test all the cardiologists in Edmonton. Will put them at work if it goes that deep. And all I can tell you, one of my favorite guys, my absolute favorite people from my time in hockey, Jeff Jackson. And it's funny, when I was texting him, I said, geez, I remember it was 2010 when we were having lunch, and he was talking about he was going to be leaving the Leafs then, and he went on, he did some landscaping, then he became a player agent, and look at all these years later, he's just always been a quality guy. And it just shows more and more that these great organizations truly start from the top down.
Gord, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the final.
Okay. Nice talking to you guys. Take care.
There you go. That's Gord Stellick from Sirius XM. I like to explain the Courtnall Kordic trade. Hey, not everybody has a bad decision in their life. Sometimes you're a GM. Sometimes you're a player. Sometimes you're a boss. Sometimes you're, in a relationship, everybody's made a few wrong decisions in time. You just hope that I always joke with my son, just try to 3s and 4s, not 9s and 10s. Yeah. You can come back from the 3s and 4s a lot easier than you come back from the 9s and 10s.
Yeah, it's not
on the mistake barometer as well.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, that's one of the things I enjoy when I run into hockey guys or scouts is I always like to, ask them who their guy was that they kind of went to bat for. Right? Because I kind of just imagine them in their room when they're trying to figure out their scouting list. You kind of have to go to bat for your guy, and there's no real science behind it. I think there's a lot of information, but it's still not perfect. And it's always interesting hearing the guy that they went to bat for, whether it was good or bad, and then the guy that maybe they should have went to bat for that, they wind up having a better career. So, it's when you got to make that final decision and you're in a position that Gord was in, it's not easy. And it's, think of, that market alone, Toronto is tough.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I get kind of tired of that excuse. Oh, it's hard to do your job in Toronto. Just do your job. Guess what? It's hard to do your job anywhere. Just because I could argue sometimes it's hard to do your job because you think no one cares. So just do your job right. Because here's the thing. We can always talk about the negatives of it, but if you ever do your job right there, trust me, you don't have to do anything for the rest of your life. Yeah. So it's there's pressure everywhere in the NHL, and there should be internal pressure. You should be like, I'm a GM in Columbus. Who cares if I don't do a good job? Well, then you should never be the GM. So sometimes I think Toronto likes to tell themselves that because that's an excuse for why they can't win.
Ooh.
It's just the truth. We'll come back and hey, we're gonna talk more about championship week here on the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. As always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal; it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Throw a load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open. If you bleed orange and blue and you're not using the all-new Play Alberta Sports and Casino app, then you're missing out. It's the only online sportsbook with odds boosts on all Oilers games. And now, it's not just sports. Play the slots, hit the tables, buy lottery tickets, all in one app, all across Alberta. Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and use promo code GOAL for a $100 bonus. That's promo code GOAL!
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties, including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot. And Molson Canadians for $5.25. OTR's TVs, hey, they're so clear you'll see the puck better than the ref. That ain't hard, is it? And every game night during Edmonton's playoff run, specials start 30 minutes before puck drop and last for the whole game. Be a part of the legend. See the menu at ontherocks.yeg.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
250. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. As we're going to get to our playoff report brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. If you need a truck, no better place to shop than Alberta GMC dealers. Now, let's talk a little playoffs, as it's not only NHL playoff final week, it's the NBA, and you got a real Canadian contingent. Of course, all defensive team Lou Dort and the MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Then you got Nembhard on the Pacers got two. The OKC Thunder have two. Should set up as a good series in the OKC Thunder. I don't think there's any doubt they come in as the favorite in this series. Steve McGehee joins us as a Thunder reporter with News 9 Oklahoma City. Steve, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Doing fine. Thanks for having me on here. Just kind of the calm, I guess, before the storm. Which one starts first, the finals or the Stanley Cup? I can't remember.
Stanley Cup is Wednesday. NBA Finals starts on Thursday. Now, right. I have a question when I'm introducing you, and it's like I'm listening to News 9 Oklahoma City. I'm thinking of Channel 4 News. Like, do you guys scrap like they did with Anchorman with the fellow TV stations in OKC?
No, we sure don't. We all get along just fine. Now, behind the walls, maybe we may say something. No, just kidding. But no, there is no fighting. We're not. No. Love Anchorman though, but no fighting.
That's unfortunate because that was one of the greatest scenes ever. God, I laughed. Now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's man has had him a season for the ages. Right, he's MVP. He could be one of, I think it's 5 or 6 guys in NBA history to win the scoring title, win MVP, and win the championship in the same year.
That would be a heck of a year, and it's been one incredible year for him. And it's just, watching him come here. He played, of course, 1 year with the Clippers, and then he had 1 year with Chris Paul, and that season finished up with the bubble. And then Oklahoma City hit the reset button, and Shai was on a team with okay, I'm the guy. I'm now the leader of the team. I'm the face of the franchise, and he accepted that role. And he kept getting better every year after year after year. I remember asking him at media day, probably 3 years ago, I'm like, you're not an all-star yet, but in my mind, you are. And you could easily average 25 points a game, but you don't because you want to get everyone else involved. And he goes, yeah, I could average 25, but that's not who I am. And then sure enough, that year he averaged 25. He went to the all-star game. He's been now to the all-star game 3 years in a row, all NBA 3 years in a row. So he's just been a gradual climb, and he's usually the last guy to leave the gym. He's constantly working on his shot. He never doesn't take shortcuts, and he's just the perfect leader on and off the court. Have you ever seen Shai with a controversial statement anywhere or anything on Twitter? No. I mean, he just does everything the right way.
Usually for any team to win a championship, that usually comes down to some depth players. Is there any depth players that you think on either team are going to play a big role?
Well, both teams have tremendous benches. No one backed into the finals here. Both have done it with their bench. I like TJ McConnell for the Pacers. He seems to always shoot well against the Thunder, so I'm a little concerned about him. But Oklahoma City's bench, it's interesting because there may be a series where, say, like Isaiah Joe barely broke a sweat. And then the next series, he's being counted on. He's playing meaningful minutes in the game, knocking down three-pointers. So the Oklahoma City bench is one of the reasons why they're in this situation when they're right now. When they can bring someone like Alex Caruso off the bench who can shoot threes and play in-your-face, tenacious defense. And then Casey Wallace, you bring off the bench, who is one of some of the quickest hands in the NBA. Kendrick Williams, Aaron Wiggins, as I mentioned, Isaiah Joe. It just goes on and on with them, and that's the reason why they're here, the bench players. But I would say McConnell for the Pacers, and I would imagine Caruso, it will be the key guy for the Thunder moving forward. And Caruso was such a big factor in the series win over Denver and also Minnesota.
Both of these teams are averaging 117 points. Like, they both can score. They score in different ways. The Pacers are definitely, they don't have a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Pascal Siakam was named MVP. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton, who thought maybe he was going to be named MVP.
Yeah.
Both of them, like their bench can score. But what about Holmgren? When I look at a matchup here, that seems like that should be an obvious matchup advantage for OKC.
Well, I'm a big fan of Obi Toppin and Miles Turner. For whatever reason, Miles Turner at trade deadline, his name is always in the discussion. I'm like, why would just keep him? He's a good player. But Chet Holmgren, people forget this year he pretty much broke his hip in a home game with the Warriors, and he missed over 30 games. He wasn't even walking. He said he was asked the other day about what he would do in bed. He got wake up, eat healthy, watch a little TV, play some games, take a nap, wake up, eat, but he wasn't watching basketball. I guess he was frustrated. This was the second time he had missed significant time in the year number 3 with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I could see why he didn't want to see basketball games, get frustrated. But he wasn't walking for a while, and so he's slowly getting through these playoffs, getting better series by series. And so I think he's back to full strength now and realizes his full potential. I mean, in a way, he's like a 7-foot point guard because he's able to be at the top of the key, dribble, and he's so long. His wingspan is so long, he can just lay it up from like 5 feet away. I've seen him done it many times so far in the playoffs. So it's really, if you root for an underdog, you got to root for Chet Holmgren because he's dealt with so many injuries early in his NBA career, and he keeps fighting back and playing winning basketball for the Thunder right now. And that's why they drafted him number 2 out of Gonzaga. They wanted a guy who could shoot threes. They wanted a guy with some length, and he also blocks shots as well. He does all three at a high level.
The Canadian Lou Dort makes the all-defensive team. Like he's relentless. Finally. Yeah, finally. He's been a really good defender for a few years. Who do you see him, like the way they play, do you see him just trying to match up a lot on one specific guy? They're going to switch? What do you see the matchup for them defensively against the Pacers?
That's a good question, who will start out with, but he will definitely switch. But will it be Siakam or will it be Halliburton? Pick your poison. Both are, very talented players. So they'll probably bounce back and forth between the two. But Jalen Williams is a very good defender as well. Probably if Dort's on Halliburton, Jalen Williams will start on Pascal Siakam. So, they can mix and match. And then you bring probably 2 other defenders off the bench that probably can easily be second team all NBA defense and Caruso and Casey Wallace. So they have 4 key defenders that they can try their best to lock down the opposing team's best player. Even Caruso, for a while there, was guarding Jokic in the Denver series.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Huge height differential. But if Jokic brought that ball down to his level, he's poking it away. And he was just a nuisance. I would hate to play against him because he'll just drive you crazy. He's annoying. And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah. No, I totally understand, Steve, what you're suggesting. When you look at it, do the Pacers, is it going to be by committee? How have you, because no team's been able to do it consistently, and that's to slow down Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. How do you think the Pacers are going to attack him on their defensive side?
Well, some teams have picked him up at half court and double teamed him to get the ball out of his hand, trap him. And I don't think there's a defense left that Shea hasn't seen all season long. So they'll probably do zone defense, man defense. Denver had a good zone defense. Minnesota's zone defense on the Thunder wasn't that great. It couldn't duplicate what Denver was able to do. But, Indiana has a fairly good defense. So they're going to try to, you've got to get the ball out of his hands, one. If he's coming across half court, you got to get the ball out of his hands. Because that's when he's so dangerous. Because if he gets past his defender, that's when he's so lethal, because he's either going to drive into the bucket and get a 2-pointer, or maybe an old-fashioned 3 with a foul, or kick it out to somebody open in the corner for a 3. So there's so many things that he can do, and he's a magician with the basketball, because you'll see him go in the lane, and you're like, how's he getting out of this? Next thing you know, he's up and under for 2. It's like, how do you do that? So he's not the fastest or quickest guy in the NBA, but boy, he sure is the silky smooth, and he knows what to do. And he studies the game. He'll look at Indiana's weaknesses, but I think he had a 45-point game against the Pacers earlier this year. And so he can score.
Steve, one last one. What's unique about this matchup? It's the first time in the luxury tax era since 2003 that neither team, went over the luxury tax. There's been some teams that have won the championship not doing it, so whoever wins won't be that. But it's the first time ever having 2 teams. The OKC Thunder, they've really built their team through the draft and developing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The NBA is a copycat league, but you look at it, and I wonder if this is maybe a start of teams saying maybe we got to go back to drafting and developing. That the super team model, it worked for a bit, but now it's over. Could the OKC Thunder put the final nail in the coffin of the the buying the big team and chasing the superstar?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look at the Phoenix Suns. They had Kevin Durant.
Oh yeah.
Beal and Devin Booker. Did that work? I mean, on paper, it looks great, but there's only one basketball. Eventually, you're going to have to you want to please the fan base the best you can, but you have to push the button and okay, we got to move these guys and get future picks. And the Paul George trade with the Clippers, set this franchise up for years to come. If that trade's not out there, they don't have a Dub on the team or Shea. So, and they're trying to build through the draft with Chet and somebody else. But I think teams should, go that way. I know some teams don't want to have a losing season and, lose, fan base, spirit and lose season ticket holders. But it was only a 2-year window where the Thunder didn't look good. It was Jalen Williams' rookie year, Dub's rookie year, that the Thunder about halfway through the season, they ended up that third season was not a tanking season. They were 1 win away from being the 8th seed in the West. So it only took 2 bad years for the Thunder to get to where they're at right now. And of course, drafting, is everything.
Yeah.
Getting Chet at number 2 and then getting Jalen Williams at number 12. Then the next year they trade with Dallas for Casey Wallace. They drafted Derek Lively, sent Lively to Dallas for Casey Wallace. And they have a lottery pick this year. Nikola Topic, 65 guard, out the whole year with an ACL. They knew he was going to be out, and they didn't need him. That's why they drafted him. He kind of slid down the draft, so they got a lottery pick that was presumed maybe be the 5th or 6th best player in the draft coming in next season. Plus, they have the 15th pick in the draft and the 24th pick in the draft and a slew of picks on down the road. So they are set up for the future, and it all started with that trade, Paul George to the Clippers and getting Shea back to the Thunder.
Oh yeah, no, that was a massive. Well, you even think about it. The Hornets originally drafted him, right? And that was one of their, and then they traded him to the Clippers later that day. So there's some teams saying, geez, this might have not been a great trade for us. So, but it's been a great trade for OKC. I'll tell you that.
A blessing. After losing Kevin Durant for nothing on the 4th of July, this was like a return gift.
Yeah, very true. Well, Steve, enjoy it. I know OKC fans have been waiting for this one, and I think they got a really good chance to bring home the title.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Steve McGee joins us from News 9, Oklahoma City. So no nunchucks or anything when they go up against News 4 in OKC. Quick break. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Let's get to us. Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest, 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
The Tampa Bay Lightning have signed forward Yanni Gourde to a 6-year contract extension with an AAV of $2.33 million. Gourde, 33, split time last season between the Kraken and the Lightning, finishing with 7 goals and 31 points. Florida Panthers captain Alexander Barkov has won the 2024-25 Selke Trophy, recognizing the forward who excels in the defensive aspects of the game. Also, the King Clancy Trophy, the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice. Major League Baseball today, Jays off. They'll kick off the series with the Phillies tomorrow. You got the Rockies and Marlins, Red Sox, Angels, Brewers taking on the Reds, White Sox with the Tigers, Padres in San Fran, A's, Twins, and the Mets in LA for a meeting with the Dodgers. And from the NFL, Detroit Lions center Frank Ragnow, 4-time Pro Bowl selection, announced his retirement after 7 NFL seasons. The 29-year-old Ragnow entered the NFL as a first-round pick with the Lions back in 2018, also appeared in 4 Pro Bowls and 3 All-Pro selections. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by former Edmonton Oiler George Larocque, and hear another edition of Cam Tate's 2-Minute Warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing, taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's 2 things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
I won't shave till we bring home the cup. And I like to do a shot for every playoff goal. My jersey's not coming off until we're the city of champs again.
Want a playoff superstition that always wins? Pick up a bag of Wilhauk beef jerky for every game. Because when it comes to the playoffs, where there's a Wilhauk, there's a way.
Make every playoff game a Wilhauk game day with Wilhauk beef jerky.
Magnificent Monday afternoon. How are
the cup with salad?
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
The big one is here at the Brick. Big deals and even bigger savings. Score up to 25% off sofas, sectionals, and recliners. Up to 25% off TV stands, wall units, and fireplaces. And save 50% off beds when you buy 3 matching bedroom pieces. Plus, save the tax when you buy 3 major kitchen appliances. Finally, start sleeping better when you save up to 50% off select mattresses. These big deals won't last long. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
It's been a long 35 years. The Cup. Sports 1440 has the finals covered with Curious, Low Tide, Gregor. And be sure to check out the free and
226
with Andrew Walker.
Jason Gregor can Instagram the Gregor.
Edmonton sports leader.
The month of May brings machines, mud, and for us, many an opportunity. We're GS
Welcome back,
and
Jason
we love
Gregor.
the warmer weather because
Tom
it
Brown's
means
here
we
at
can
Sports
get
14.
to work. But to keep things moving, we need the right people on our team. You feel your skills. You know your work matters. Now's the time to bring that experience to a crew that gets it. We're hiring experienced top men and pipe layers. So if you're ready to dig in and be part of a team that has your back, apply now at gsconstruction.ca for this great opportunity.
We've got some good news for you. Employee pricing is back at St. Albert Dodge. You pay what we pay, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, it just doesn't get any better than that. You'll get a great deal, and it's so easy. No complications, no negotiations. The pricing is simple. Your biggest challenge will be choosing the vehicle you want. Employee pricing. Come see us now for the best selection and the best pre-tariff prices of the year. And see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott at Advanced Hair and
All
Skin.
right, thanks for having me on.
The pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Steve McGehee joins us from News 9, Oklahoma City.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
After 3 o'clock on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having an awesome day. Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. George Larac will join us coming up later this hour. Got the 2-minute warning. David Beard from the Elks, if they start their, we got the 2 rookie head coaches making their CFL regular season debuts, Buck Pierce and Mark Killam. We're hoping to have Coach Killam on the show, hopefully on Thursday. Possibly. We'll see how everything plays out. But the Elks, so they play a game, then they have a bye week. And we talked to Ed Hervey last week. He actually kind of likes it with, new coaching staff, new team and everything. You can play that game, then you can kind of exhale. Okay, how was it? And then you'll have 2 weeks to prepare, because I'm not sure there's a more complicated offensive package in the league than what the Montreal Alouettes run. So I think they might benefit from that extra time off. We'll see. Now, if you win, you're probably like, oh my God, we want to play right away. And then, of course, if you lose, people are like, oh, now we got to live on a loss for 2 weeks. But that's just how it goes. So you can put in how it works in the CFL is you put in some requests. Some teams don't have a choice ultimately at the end of the day, but you kind of put in 4 or 5 options of when you'd like certain games or certain things. And maybe if you want a road trip out east or west, how do you want it? Back to back. Stuff like that. Everybody's a little bit different. So you hope that you get a few of the things. So the Elks were okay with an early season bye, in case you're wondering why they have it in week 2. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. So we mentioned it casually. We got a lot of interest. So we're on it. We're going to do it. So we have 8 spots left. You had a 1 in 12 chance to go to game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. It's $200 to donate. It all goes to the Gregor Foundation. So if you want in, 833-401-1440. Just text your name and say you want in. We'll send you where you can make the donation. Once we get the donations, then we'll do the draw. It's not a reverse draw. We just do one. First name out, you win. And so that's pretty good odds. And considering what the tickets cost, it's pretty cheap. So, yeah, the Stanley Cup playoff tickets, unfortunately, have been grossly increased for fans, which is not ideal. So this might be the best opportunity you get. So if you want in, 833-401-1440, just text your name and say you want in, and we will send you we'll send you how to do it. So way you go. And we already got 2 more. So now we're halfway done. We only got 6 left. I love it. Very easy. So now a few other things. We'll get to Jake Wallman coming up also in hour number 4, but want to get your thoughts, Brownie, on your key. The Oilers will win if blank.
Will win, I think, if Skinner can continue to play at the level that he's playing at. And I guess, you know what? I think it's going to come down to the depth guys again, right? That's McDavid and Draisaitl are going to do their thing, but I think it's going to, can Henrique and maybe Janmark, Brown when he gets back in there. Can those depth guys continue to produce and step up? And I think that's obviously one of the big reasons why they're where they're at, and they're going to need that continued support. And then the physicality, can they initiate? Are they going to react or are they going to initiate? Because they do have some guys that, are quite emotional, and if they can initiate their physicality and have those guys react to them, they'll be in a good spot.
I look at Edmonton, and to me, it's just, I'm going to say more of the same. They really shut down Vegas and Dallas, 2 good teams. I know it's funny. There's so many people that don't want to give Edmonton credit. Here it's they picked LA. Yeah, but LA's coach made a bad decision. Okay. But Edmonton didn't play a bad game in game 1. Like, you got to overcome bad decisions. You got to overcome bad games. It happens. Then you go to Vegas, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, they're going to lose to Vegas. And the Oilers completely shut them down. And it was more, well, yeah, Vegas, they didn't play very well. Did they not play well, or did Edmonton just take away what they did well? I think it's the latter. Then you get to Dallas, and it was pretty much the same thing. There was a lot of, Dallas's depth scoring. But Dallas's depth scoring, as I outlined before the series, didn't score. Right? So that wasn't really a change. So Edmonton just said, guess what? You're not going to beat us off the rush. And outside of game one, your power play is not going to beat us. And it didn't happen. And so Florida, of course, I think is better than all those teams. The Panthers, Edmonton wasn't healthy with McDavid and Draisaitl last year, and they still found a way to get to game 7. And I think those two being healthy is such an advantage for Edmonton. And I do think, Brownie, like the pain of losing, I think is going to fuel them, just like it did Florida to beat Edmonton after losing the year before. And it's hard to match that. Like Florida wants to repeat, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's not many teams that have beaten a team that lost the year before, right? Like it just doesn't happen very often, right? Like, look, Florida lost the year before, Edmonton couldn't beat them, right? Now Edmonton didn't play them,
yeah.
But if a team that gets back right away that next year with a lot of the same group, they have success. So that's why I think Edmonton, although they do have lots of new players, right? Wallman, Klingberg, Arvidsson, Podkolzin, Frederick. You can kind of. Well, Kane's not new, but that's 5 new guys, right? That's a significant change to your team. Throw in Jeff Skinner, who's played some games. It's another guy. Stetcher didn't play at all last year, so there's another guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as a coaching staff, they got a number of guys that are clicking at the right time, and this coach has continued to push the right buttons and found ways to get the best out of the whole team, the depth guys. So yeah, I really don't know. I don't think, obviously nobody knows how. You're going to be splitting hairs. It's going to be tight. I mean, this is where you talk about the momentum and shift. And I think Gord maybe touched on it a little bit about the physicality, right? Because I think this is more than likely going to be a long series, right? The guys are going to be blocking shots. Guys are going to have to make, take hits to make plays and all the stuff, all the gritty and the ugly side of the game. And I think the team that's most willing to do all that, the hard plays and the physicality, whoever does it the most, I think, eventually is going to set up, for later on down the series.
Hey, boys, we heard anything on Reinhart? Well, he did come back and play. So last I heard, Reinhart's fine. It's Luostarinen who got injured in game 5. Now, the last time he was asked about it, and Maurice said he played. Now, I didn't watch Florida skate. I should actually look at George Richards today and get an update on whether or not he skated, but they were pretty confident that he would be back for the Stanley Cup final. So I'm just looking up George Richards to see if there's anything about Luostarinen not skating, and I don't see that. So I'm going to guess that he's fine. So we'll see how it goes, but I think he'll be fine. Now, playing and fully healthy is totally different, right? We saw that last year with McDavid and Draisaitl, many other guys. But, core injuries, those are pretty hard. I think it might be easier sometime for a guy to play with a shoulder that's bugging him. But a core injury, like Draisaitl couldn't shoot, right? Couldn't really skate. Do the math. I don't know exactly what it was, but you pick one of the two. And when your two best players are healthy, that's why I think it's advantage Edmonton. And history tells me the great players find ways to win.
And I'll go back to what Paul Coffey said, right? This guy is he's special. He's going to will his team. He's something we haven't seen in a long time. And I think the injuries too, even though there's this time and guys are back and there's, however many days in between the games, still guys are still going to be battling something. No one's coming back 100%. They still are, have their nicks and bruises. They're not going to be perfect and playing completely health free. But I don't know. I guess, the other fun thing, the other guy that I enjoy is Paul Maurice. And I think you probably from that, from your side, the media side, probably, enjoy doing media scrums and listening to him. He's always good for some type of, his insight on the game is always quite interesting. And, from being a former player, you kind of watch some of these guys and how they, interact with their team. And Paul Maurice seems to be a guy that, I think a lot of guys would enjoy playing for. He seems like he creates an interesting atmosphere in the dressing room.
It was interesting. You can go back and look at how many people were ripping on the Paul Maurice hiring at the time because Florida had just, Andrew Burnett. They had great success. And then, boom, he got let go, which in hindsight, like at the time, pretty tough decision. Big decision to make. But it's worked out incredibly well for the Florida Panthers. You definitely can't question that. It's worked. And hey, it's worked out well for Paul Maurice too, because he got to go to a place where he had a chance and he's won a championship. So that's great. We'll come back. George Larac will join us. And I think we might be sold out. I got to count the names, but I think we're good. And then we'll have our draw here later on in the show. Somebody's going to have a good time to be going to the game. 200 bones, but we're raising a lot of money for the foundation, so I really appreciate it. 833-401-1440. We'll return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Alberta. The all-new Play Alberta app is here. Casino, sports betting, lottery, all in one app, right on your phone. And because it's Play Alberta, it's safe, secure, and reliable. Download it now and play over 500 online casino games, live dealer tables, and unique games you'll love. Plus, bet on sports from anywhere in the province. You in? Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and deposit using promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on the house. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks are hosting Edmonton's Got Talent this Thursday night. The winning act gets $500, and so does one lucky fan who voted for them. Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at GoHawks.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot. And Molson Canadians for $5.25. OTR's TVs, hey, they're so clear you'll see the puck better than the ref. That ain't hard, is it? And every game night during Edmonton's playoff run, specials start 30 minutes before puck drop and last for the whole game. Be a part of the legend. See the menu at ontherocksyeg.com.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
For a rock-solid start on all your spring and summer projects, Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete to septic tanks, precast water pads to outhouses, plus aggregates, landscaping supplies, and more. Renos, construction. Start planning right now at BashawConcrete.com or call 780-372-3854. That's 780-372-3854. Family owned and operated, proudly serving Albertans since 1963. Bashaw Concrete Products.
It's playoff time, and we've got a lot to talk about. This is Andrew Walker on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440. Tune in after every playoff game for the Ridge Social Eatery postgame show. The Ridge is the new hotspot in St. Albert, and it's so good.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail, locally owned and operated by the Kent family, and celebrating 45 years. See all our rides at hdedmonton.com.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
E25. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sean Brown through Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely Monday. Guess what? You're inching closer. Only 51 hours until puck drop. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, Wednesday night in Edmonton. Oiler fans, the Oilers have never lost the Stanley Cup when they start on home ice. So just letting you know, good vibes for them. They've been pretty successful when they start at home. Now, let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Stop in right now. XC90 plug-in hybrids. You can lease from 1.49% and save an additional $5,000. Great vehicles, better service at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Former Edmonton Oiler, of course, is a talk show host in Montreal. Former teammate of Sean Brown, Georges Larac, joins us. Georges, how you doing, my man?
Very good, guys. How you guys doing?
Hey, we're good. You're very calm today, George. Is this just the calm before the storm? Are you planning on a trip to the Stanley Cup city of Edmonton?
Are you? Of course I am. I'm coming on Wednesday for both games, the first 2 home games. And so the only reason why I'm not yelling right now is because I'm at the airport because my daughter's flying back to Edmonton. So I'm in the lounge. So usually I would be yelling if I was at home. But she's flying back today to Edmonton, and I'm joining her back on Wednesday.
Georgie, pretty exciting series, obviously. We haven't seen a player like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in quite some time in Edmonton. You've watched them. Obviously, you watch the Oilers closely. What's different about the Edmonton Oilers, and what's different about those 2 superstars?
Okay, so we know that these 2 players are the best player in the world. And in the past, what they used to do is they worked so hard for individual trophy. Like Connor, people say he had 100 points and he had a bad year. But what they did this year, and I love the fact that they did that, they learned from last year that at the end of the year, and then all the hockey that they played in the playoffs, they played hurt in the Stanley Cup Final. They knew they had to save their energy this year so they could have a chance, in the playoff to be more rested. So towards the end of the season, when they could have played, usually they would have played for their points, they rest up. Look at that game in LA at home. We were playing for home ice advantage. Our stars player didn't play. We lost 4-0. We give them home ice advantage. When we did that, because we didn't care. We're like, you know what? We're in here because we want to win the cup. They didn't care about the hard rock and they didn't care about anything anymore. And that's why I love about these 2 guys is now knowing what you have to do to win the cup, sacrifice, and then, be rest up and look at them. They're in a mission right now. Look at this team that they're playing. They're playing for the cup. They know what it takes to be there. And to be honest, guys, and I really think so, there is no way that these 2 guys are going to lose to the same team twice in a row in the Stanley Cup Final. It is impossible.
Well, I look at the matchup for Edmonton, and like they went through Dallas and Vegas ease is probably hyperbole, but they really controlled the series. They were full marks to win in 5. It wasn't like they got a bunch of lunky breaks, to win. They fully outplayed both of those teams. They took away their biggest strengths. Now you play Florida. They forecheck much more aggressively than any other teams. But by doing that, they can expose you. If you can beat the forecheck, George, and Edmonton has really good puck-moving defenders, they're going to be able to move the puck in transition. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to. If the Oilers' defense, who are very good at puck moving, can get back and get the puck and beat the forecheck, the Oilers are going to have a lot of chances off the rush.
Like, to start, just the fact that Dallas beat Colorado shows you how good of a team that they were. We should have swept them. The only reason why it went in 5 is because of that third period in that first game where we got into penalty trouble and they came back. But look at the way that we've been playing. We're fast. And the thing is, Florida, what they did to the other teams, they're physical and they have big guys. But you can't play like this with us because we have big guys too. We have physical guys too. And we're much faster than Florida. So that's why when I look at our team, I'm not afraid at all because they're not built fast enough to beat us. And yes, if you look in net, you could say Bobrovsky, you look at the depth that they have in D-man, but we have best in scoring of all 4 lines. They do too, but this playoff, something is happening where there's unsung hero every game that are showing up. It is just amazing to see. And I just think that with these guys possessed, knowing what happened last year, they're going to play with a chip in their shoulder, knowing that they owe Florida something. So that's why these guys this year, this final, I don't think it's going to be as hard as people think. I don't even see this game going in 7. I think at most it's going to be in 6. And I wouldn't be surprised if you won it in 5. There's no way. And guys, I'm honest when I'm saying that. I don't see Florida winning a game in Edmonton.
I do expect it to be a physical series. And I think that the Oilers are in a great position with Kane, Frederick, and Podkolzin and others. I know that, Gregor and I were talking about Kane's ability to be physical and chirp. And obviously Florida's got some guys that can play physical and there's guys that can elevate their game when they're like that. I was never one of those guys. I think I chirped once and I remember getting beat up by Danny Lacroix, who I think was your buddy, and we wind up trading for like a week after. But I think back to a training camp there at the old rink at Rexall. And I remember there was a tough guy. We were out, it was before the Zamboni even came off the ice, and I'm out there on the bench. And there was this guy on the bench. I don't know if you remember this or not, but this guy was rocking back and forth, and he was in one, you could just tell he was revved up and getting himself going. And so I sat down beside him and I said, "Hey, how's everything going? Are you a little nervous?" And he's like, "I'm going to fight Larocque." And I was like, okay, he's not even out on the ice. Like, we're waiting. And so this guy, how back in the day, everyone seemed to have everyone's, I guess kind of did their research on everyone's skill set. So anyway, we get out on the ice and you had just come out and I skated up to you. I said, "Hey, listen, that guy over there wants to fight you, and he wants to fight you before the doors are shut, before the game even starts." I'm not sure if you remember that, but I do remember I remember you beating him.
His last name was Simon.
Yes, there you go.
And he actually, it was before, we used to do the Joey Moss Cup, 4 colors.
Yeah.
And we practiced an hour, and then it was the games. During the practice, he wanted to fight. He came up to me and is like, "Could we go right now?" Because he couldn't wait to get it over with because it was so much in his head. And I was so surprised, like, what? Just wait for the game.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't have done that, because when he did that, I was so mad. I was so upset that I just wanted to kill him. And that's what happened.
I don't even know if he even finished camp.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He was cut after those 4 games that we played. But I've always hated these, because in these 4 games, most of those guys are not going to play an exhibition game. But why are you challenging me in exhibition game? Like, not even exhibition game, in the intra squad games. And I was not happy about it. So. If he didn't ask me, I would have been nicer on him when we dropped it. But because he went after me in practice, I was like, "That's it, he's done," and he was done.
So bringing it back to the Oilers, Stuart Skinner
was that Ben Simon?
I think.
Yes, it was.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
It was. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Good job, man. Is that your memory, or you did some research?
Well, I was looking through names. And then because there's not a lot of Simons around, but I'm sure the Ben Simon was the one guy, and he actually did play a few games NHL.
Oh, okay.
Right? Pretty sure he did. I'll go look that up. But Ben Simon,
I don't think so. I doubt it.
you don't think so?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay,
no.
I'm going to go back and look.
Yeah.
Ben Simon. So I'll look him up while we're talking.
So Stuart Skinner to me is fascinating, playing, for his, childhood team. He's had some ups and downs throughout the season, and, he's obviously found his game and playing amazing. What is it in his game, or what is it that you like about his game going into the Stanley Cup Finals?
Okay, to start, I'm not going to lie. I broke my phone in the LA series. Look at him, the way that he was stopping the puck. I was not happy with him. And something happens. After Kyle Pickard, 6 in a row, came in and he left, and then we had no choice to go back to him. I was a little bit afraid. And then he started getting confidence. I don't know if it's going to be his new things now that every playoff, in the beginning of him, he's going to struggle a bit, and then he's going to be back on top. But now, surely he's in control. The way that he's been playing lately, we need that. If he's speaking at this time right now for the Stanley Cup Final, it is perfect because we need him. They have a lot of firepower on the other side in Florida, and it's not like Dallas. I don't know what happened in Dallas. I know that we beat them, but it's not the same team that beat Colorado. I don't know what happened to them, but the experience that is in Florida, we're gonna need Jeff Skinner. Like we're gonna need him Stuart Skinner at his best. He has to stop the puck, and he has to make the big save. And, one of the worst things, Brownie, it is for a team is when there's a bad goal that goes in. That goal that Robertson scored game 5 between the legs, that bad goal, that could have been a goal that broke us. So, and then the other showed character, and they scored another one to be ahead 2 goals. But these type of goals cannot go in because it'll be so hard to score against Florida. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be an open fest score like it was against Dallas, but I know we need him to be at his best, and I think that he will be because he's speaking at the right time.
George, what do you think of Sam Bennett? And I know you hated guys that chirped, right? That was one thing, that you were such a very honest player, but Sam Bennett is a guy that's physical and mean. Would you agree with that? Do you think there's as many players that play that style as there used to be, and is there a benefit to it?
The one thing I never understood about this is, how people, when they chirp in playoff in regular season, I have never seen a guy going to the infirmary because he's getting chirped. I don't know why it gets to people's head and it gets in their head and they get mad about it. But chirping doesn't hurt anyone. The only thing that will hurt someone is you punch him in the face. When I was hearing people chirping, I would just laugh at the stuff that they would say. I didn't care, but I guess some players care. So in the playoffs, chirping doesn't do anything. But the thing with Sam Bennett, it's not the chirp, it's the way that he plays. Why they beat the Leaf? And again, I'm not saying he did it on purpose. He ran into the goalie. They lost Stolars. Maybe with Stolars, the series is different. But that's what he is. He plays with the edge. You don't know what he's going to do. And he's physical. And that part of the game is intimidating. Evander Kane is the same way. Florida knows that. Last year, they didn't have Evander Kane. Evander Kane was hurt. Now you have Evander Kane, they have Sam Bennett. And you know what? That physicality, Evander Kane, I think, is tougher than Bennett. But again, it doesn't matter because in the playoff, it's the physical play that counts. So yeah, he's physical, but so is Evander Kane, and so is Frederick, and so is Kapanen. How physical has been Kapanen? I never saw the guy throw one hit in the regular season, and now he's into the playoff, and he's like he's a train.
Oh, that shift where he rocked Pietrangelo twice in the Vegas game, like he came out like he was shot out of a cannon in Game 4, and then he scored the overtime winner in Game 5. George Laractra. Now I looked at Ben Simon; he did actually play 81 game, but Ben wasn't that big. George, like, was this guy you fought? Like, he was only like 6 feet 205. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly, but
he was a minor league tough guy.
I think.
Hey,
no, it was Jason Simon.
Jason,
I looked up a guy.
It's Jason Simon.
Jason Simon. That guy fought a ton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's him. It's Jason Simon. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Jason Simon. You're right.
Yeah,
That's him.
I looked it up, and now he did actually play. But before, because I'm assuming this was training camp in like 97 or 98, because he actually did play 5 NHL games, 4 with the Islanders in 94. And then one with the Coyotes in 97. But he was basically, he played in the IHL a lot. But I was looking at his penalty minutes: 402, 419, 323.
That's him.
Yeah, so he could fight, but he couldn't play. And he couldn't fight very well against you either. So there you go. Now, George, you're saying, there's not fighting, but what if you're the Edmonton Oilers in game 1 at home ice and you're Evander Kane, would we go 4 nations off the face-off here and say, hey, Bennett, you want to go? And then somebody challenges Kachuk? Should the Oilers do that?
No, playoff hockey is not like that. If we actually did that, these guys, they wouldn't go. They would try to draw the 2-minute penalty. I understand what you're saying. And actually, I was in the building when this happened, and people were on their feet for the first 10 minutes of the game. It was insane. Yeah. But, in a playoff, physical play hurts more than a fight. Yes. It's the wear and tear of hitting guys as much as you can. So then, when the series is long, these guys, you see them less and less the more it goes on. So that's why I don't see that happening. I understand, Jason, for the show, how crazy it was in Edmonton. But remember, Florida knows that too. Yeah. Doesn't matter the result of the fight. If ever this was to happen, the building would blow up. It would give too much energy to the Oilers. So there's no way they're going to give us that crowd energy, because Florida, as you know, the fans are not as loud as they are in our building. But give us a couple fights like this to a fan, it's over in terms of energy. It's over.
Georgie, are you raising the next Evander Kane with your son Marcus?
Actually, I don't know. I just hope that he keeps going the way that he is. He did good last year. He's then going to WHL, next year. So, but you know what? I'm hoping that, just like you, that Ryland got invited to Winnipeg camp. So he has to follow his steps. He's going to a pro camp, your son. So hopefully my son could follow the footstep of yours, Brownie.
Hopefully keep the names going.
That's right.
George, one last one for you about the series. The matchup game. We saw Barkov. He gets announced today, wins his 3rd Selke. He's very good defense. I was looking at McDavid and Draisaitl's numbers, though. Both of them actually have better offensive and defensive numbers than Barkov and Bennett, the number 1 and the number 2 center so far in the playoffs. McDavid and Draisaitl healthy. I don't, if you're Paul Maurice, would you put Barkov and McDavid and try to go Bennett, Draisaitl? What do you think his plan is?
Okay, first of all, people talk about this Barkov guy, okay? That was the same guy that last year we played them. Connor played him with abdominal tear that he had, and he broke Ring Rescue's record against Barkov. You think Barkov is scaring us? I don't care who they put against him. Put Barkov against Connor. Put him against Leon. It's not going to do anything. Yes, he's a good player, but did he shut them down last year? And they were hurt. Now they're 100% healthy. First of all, Connor is so fast. There's nothing that you could do. Nothing that he could do. And Barkov could try to stay with him. You won't be able to keep up with him. And Leon, this strength and his passing ability and everything, I'm not afraid of anything with these guys and stuff. And they're gonna light it up, even if they put Barkov against one of the other 2 guys. So I think all guys are so much poised that this Selke thing. Well, surely. Well, it's a good thing for Barkov that they do the Selke after the regular season, because surely after this playoff, he wouldn't give it to him. Wait to see what's going to happen.
George is fired up, man. We'll see you in Edmonton on Wednesday and Friday. Fly safe.
Thanks for having me. See you guys on Wednesday. Thank you.
It's George Larac. He's fired up. Well, that's a good line. Might have to. We'll see if it comes to fruition or not. But the Oilers definitely. You know what? They had some struggles scoring early in that series, and they scored 18 goals in games 4-6. Unfortunately, they only scored 1 in game 7. But so they've proven that, hey, Florida's shown they can shut them down for a game. They can also get lit up. And the Edmonton Oilers, it is true. Draisaitl and McDavid were banged up. That's a fact. And they're both healthy now. So that's another area of the series that I think benefits Edmonton. Now, Florida comes in. The pride of a team that's won is really hard to overlook. And Edmonton really wants to win. Like, once you've won, and because before you dream about the feeling, right? You're like, oh, you know what? I'm playing mini sticks or I'm playing street hockey and I've won the Stanley Cup. And you're like, oh, this is great. But then you talk to people when they won and they're like, oh my God, the feeling's even better than I thought. Yeah. Right. And it's euphoric. So as much as Edmonton wants it, Florida's like, I know what it feels like. I want that again.
Yeah, I mean, it gives me goosebumps just, that feeling. And one of my favorite things to do is watch the celebration and the guys hoisting the Stanley Cup and listening to them talk, and just the emotion just pours out, and it's just brings you back to, why we all play the game. So yeah, that the feeling, I guess, when I have nothing to base this on, but I couldn't imagine that feeling of how it feels, and then the opportunity to do it again, has got to be it's a motivating factor. And but the fact that the two best players haven't had that feeling, I'm not betting against those guys, because they want that. And I think I have to agree with Larocque when you talk about Barkov and how well he defends, and Reinhart. Plans are good. They're nice to have, but when you have, the best players that are just have the ability to, get through, challenge a plan and have success, they're going to be hard. They're motivated. And I just think when you have the two best players in the world that haven't had that feeling, I wouldn't want to bet against them.
All right, 3:45. I think we got our spots filled. We're just waiting on a few guys to make their donation, so we'll give them a few 50 minutes if they do. If not, some of you will put you on the waiting list. And so best of luck. We're just waiting on a few others. We said we'd give them till 4 o'clock to make the donation, so that's totally fine. We'll return. We got the 2-minute warning. Cam Tate. We've got more. We'll hear from Jake Wallman after 4 o'clock. Wallman had quite the weekend, if you saw it online. He was out at Wallman was at Walmart and saw some young kids looking at hockey cards, and just went over and started talking to them. And I guess had like a 10-minute conversation with them. Their father, Adam, was just raving about how awesome he was to the kids. And then before he left, he actually bought him a box of hockey cards.
How cool.
So the kids are just like, oh my goodness. Like, I'll tell you right now, those 3 little kids,
never forget.
Well, you know who their favorite player is now. I get 100%. It's going to be Jake Wallman. And so I talked to Wallman, who's fitting incredibly well. So I'll let you hear about just coming to Edmonton. His parents are here now. He's joking. His dad's because they came here for the Dallas series, and they've stayed, his dad and his brother, because they can work remotely, but his mom had to go home to do her job, but she'll be back for game 1 of the Stanley Cup final. Obviously his girlfriend's here, and he's loving the moment. He's never really been in the playoffs other than one game when he came in as a rookie with St. Louis. In the final game, they were down 3-0. You come in, you got swept. So wasn't necessarily the same as this. So talked a lot about that, about, why he felt the need to go, because a lot of guys won't go up. Like, he was the one who initiated it to go up and talk to the kids. We'll talk about Jake with that and more in the 4 o'clock hour in the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. Guys used to call me a plumber, and now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing: taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's 2 things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Tee off to win with Cattail Crossing's $10,000 hole-in-one challenge, powered by Sports 1440, Canada's first ever Aqua Range event. Just walk up, grab some golf balls, and start swinging. Or book a VIP bay today. Win $10,000 with a hole-in-one, plus great secondary hole and leaderboard prizes. Closest to the pin and monthly winners will battle for a $50,000 grand prize. The hole-in-one challenge, open Thursday to Sunday, noon till 8 through August. Weather permitting, cattailcrossing.ca.
Legend has foretold of a smoothie so delicious and refreshing that it could quench the thirst of a fire-breathing dragon.
But it's also a great pick-me-up after a workout. The new Dragon Slayer smoothie from Booster Juice, a legendary blend of dragon fruit and mangoes, destined to be your next obsession. Try it today along with the new Dragon Booster Ball and the Pink Dragon Booster Mixer.
3 epic menu items to conquer your cravings. Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
A fire ban is now in place for northern and central parts of Alberta where wildfire danger is extreme. Because of hot, windy conditions, wood-burning fires are not permitted on public or private land. For more information about bans or restrictions in your area, visit albertafirebans.ca. To report wildfires in the forest protection area, call 310-FIRE. That's 310-FIRE. A message from the government of Alberta.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Did you wake up this morning and think, I want to be a used RV salesman? If you're like most people, the answer is no. But if you want to sell your quality used RV yourself, then a used RV salesman is what you are.
Welcome to your new job.
That's right, Bob. Put it up on all the best websites. Wait for the phone to ring and be ready day or night, weekday or weekend. Drive out to the storage lot for every random tire kicker who calls and hope that what you have is exactly what they want.
There's an easier way to do this, Rick.
That's right, Bob. You could bring it to No Bull RV. We love selling used RVs, and the customers are already here. Commercials like this, bring them in by the hundreds. All you need to do is cash the check when it leaves our lot. Used RV salesman is not what you wanted to be when you woke up this morning. And if it was, well, I think you better come out here and apply for a job.
And that's No Bull. NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Feeding a crowd, get the triple play. 3 large specialty or 5 topping pizzas for only $54 when you use promo code 3play at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown with you, Connor Halley. Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, your one-stop shop. The only place where you can enjoy all of it. Live dealer, lottery, instants, casino, sports. Get it at PlayAlberta.ca. And if you want an early line on Wednesday, the Edmonton Oilers are the home favorite. Game 1. And right now the line is 6.5 in goals. So I'm expecting a few goals, which is always nice. The only thing better than a win in playoffs is a win with some goals. My own opinion. You like to have some offense back and forth, maybe some line changes. We'll see. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown with you, Sports 1440. We're going to have Jake Wallman coming up. But first, let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change, no overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town. Cam, of course, born with cerebral palsy, is in a wheelchair, has always wanted to be on radio, and with the wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life now in the 2-minute warning.
I could say it today, right now, but I want to make sure. I want to feel as comfortable as I do in those pair of slippers. You know, the ones the dog has chewed the right heel and I haven't had the time, never mind the thought, to get it sewn back together. It's more than the proverbial gut feeling. It's in my bones, man. In my bones. And it's been there since round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, when the Edmonton Oilers were in the throes, or should that be, slapshots, of personally booking tea times for the Los Angeles Kings. That feeling was there too in the Las Vegas series. It was getting stronger, bigger, more convincing, more real. Then when the Dallas Stars were in the visitors' dressing room, that feel was growing, getting more profound, if you will, more encompassing. And it was there, Monday morning, a shade before noon, Oilers, Coach Chris Knobloch, Darnell Nurse, Evander Kane, and Jeff Skinner were interviewed outside the dressing room door. And it was there. It made me believe the Oilers. Oh, hang on. Almost spilled the beans. And I can't. Not yet. 2 more days before I make such a hockey proclamation. Let me go back to the rink. Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Wednesday, if it's still there. I'll share my thoughts on the big 2-minute warning. I want to make sure it's there. Somehow, I think it will be. 2-minute warning with Tater, Gregor Show, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sports 1440.
Well, there you go. Nice. Tater, he's a believer.
How could you not? It's just amazing. The fact that, a lot of coaches and teams use the word building, how much and how far they've come and how much they've built towards this moment. And guys are peaking and playing as a team individually, I think, as well as they could be, which makes it, that's in Florida as well, which makes it for an exciting, but Cam's been around a long time, and I'm sure that feeling and his understanding of, guys in those moments, good for him.
Looking at this series, Brownie, the there's a lot of talk about Florida's physical, but Edmonton's been very physical too, right? Florida's the only team that has more hits than the Edmonton Oilers, but with Florida's hits, they have been giving up goals off the rush. That seems to be, and Woodley actually, we had to reschedule. He's going to join us tomorrow to kind of have a breakdown on goals on Bobrovsky. And, I do know that, Kev's talked about it before, on the ice. Now, can you score on the ice in a goalie? Sure. But that's where Bobrovsky is pretty good. So upper half of the net, definitely an area that you want to shoot if you have time on Sergei Bobrovsky. We really saw that with Edmonton in games 4, 5, and 6 last series. Now, you got to create the chances too, right? So you can't just, every chance you get, it's not like you're going to score every one. But I think they clearly got that, and it worked. And so early on, Chris Knobloch has said, hey, I've got so many minutes. I want to play McDavid 20. I want to play Draisaitl 20. So I want to get the other guys involved. I can't just be about line matching, or I won't be able to get the guys in. You got to trust who you can play. That being said, there's still going to be certain matches, because if you get into a rotation 5, 6, 8, 10 shifts with no whistles, then you kind of get into that rhythm.
Yeah.
And I look at Florida's third line, and they've been great. Lundell, Osterinen, and Brad Marchand. So if we assume that Barkov and Bennett, McDavid and Draisaitl are canceling each other out, they're going to play head-to-head. Is it too easy to say it's going to be Janmark, Arvidsson, and Podkolzin? Or do you think he might go Janmark, Brown, and Podkolzin, and put Arvidsson with Henrique and Frederick?
I like Brown up there just because of, hopefully, he, can continue on with the way he's playing defensively. Obviously his skating and where he was last year compared to where he is now, and just the way, he's playing in big moments and big games. And, he's, for a smaller guy, he's obviously responsible. He's physical. And you talk about the physicality. I think it's great to be physical for sure. Both teams want to do that, but you also have to be careful too. I mean, you can't be running around trying to take hits that aren't there and putting yourself in a position where you're losing body position. So you kind of, as much as you got to be physical, you got to be responsible too. Yeah. Because both teams, have players and skill, where if, those details aren't there, they're going to make you look bad with odd man rushes, and all the, both teams skate very well and are going to look to, with their defense core, move up in the play and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, I like the fact that I like Knobloch's approach, right? I mean, and he has that approach to be able to not worry about matching lineups based on how the depth guys are playing.
Yeah.
Right. And, I think at different times through the season, he probably didn't have that approach and couldn't have that approach.
Sure.
So the fact that, guys are playing the way they are gives him many different options. And, I think that if you maybe overcoach a little too much and you start trying to match, you also take away the rhythm of certain guys too. So what I think the ideal situation is, you want to trust your team and their ability and how they're going to play. And let's, hopefully the other team is reacting more to you, whether it's in the physical department or line matching, because I think if coaches and teams are starting to adjust their game, I think that's would be a benefit to the Oilers.
Yeah. Well, I think 100%. The minute you get a team a little bit outside their rhythm, and I'll give the Oilers coaching staff credit. I thought they devised a game plan very successful against Vegas and Dallas. LA, they've seen before, and they found ways to come back and win that series. But really from the get-go on Vegas, they got out 2-0. Even game one against Dallas, I think they liked their game except their penalty kill.
Yeah.
Right. But they like their 5-on-5 play. And really, that's where the majority of the game is played. Now, Florida's games have a few more power play opportunities in it. And I'll tell you right now, even if you get into 3 power plays a game in this series per team, that's a benefit to Edmonton because Florida, they take penalties. Now, their power play is decent and their penalty kill is quite good at 87%, but it's not against the Oilers power play. Like, I'm sorry. It's just, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Toronto, they don't have an Oilers power play. Yeah. And that I'm interested to see. And I think Florida knows it, right? That you'll try to be more disciplined. But as talking to Kane and a few other players, like, the emotion's going to be high. And Florida does have some players who you can, as much as they can try to get you out of your comfort zone, you can get them to cross the line a little bit. And so it'll be a matter of, can you, because if Edmonton can squeeze out 3 power play chances a game, I like their chances of scoring a goal.
Well, and I think if you want to take the physicality out of Florida's game, you're going to have to capitalize on the power play, right? I think that, if Florida if Florida tries to come out and intimidate and be physical and put themselves in bad situations, if Florida's power play and the skilled guys are making plays and they're capitalizing, it changes the whole dynamic of the game and how you approach it. And I think that's one thing that, Dallas, I'm sure they had a game plan too, right? Yeah. And 5-on-5, they couldn't score, and certain guys just never got their game, to where they would have liked it to get to. And I think that affects your overall game plan. It's nice to have one, but when the Oilers had a plan but had guys going.
Yeah.
The Dallas had a game plan, but guys weren't going. So it changes. I think it changes from game to game and series to series, and it all depends on the success you're having and whether it's the specialty teams or just individual guys having success.
Yeah, Dallas couldn't handle the speed of Edmonton. And, if you go to NHL Edge, Edmonton's a faster team than Florida. So we'll see. Hey, Jason, this is Adam. My kids were the ones who met Wallman at Walmart. They just heard you talking about it on the radio. They can't wait to hear him speak. Luke, Jake, and Emma were celebrities at school after that post went viral. The school put the picture on every monitor in the school, and each of them got to talk about the experience to their classmates. The experience made 3 little kids much more connected to this team than ever before. Now let's go get a cup from Adam. Well, yeah, could you imagine? Like I said, Jake, and it's funny that it's Jake Wallman, and he meets a young boy named Jake. It's kind of funny. And Luke and Emma. I'm sure McDavid or Draisaitl is probably still a favorite player. Maybe Bouchard, a third defenseman, but Jake Wallman's going to be at the top of the list now because they actually spoke to him, right? Yeah. Like they had a conversation with him, and he initiated it, and then got a nice little gift of some hockey cards, and the gift's probably a bonus, but it's more the fact that he gave him his time, which is one of the most powerful things you can give someone.
And good on Jake for recognizing that. And I think when you're a player, or sometimes you don't really recognize the impact that you're going to have on people. And I think that's one of the amazing things that the Oilers have done now is they've really found a way to try and capture the experience for, people of all ages, whether, it's the watch party where I think it's a certain age group watches at the Moss Pit. There's another age group that watches in the tent, but the Oilers have done a great job of finding ways to really involve everyone. And they also do a good job of getting guys, throughout the community. And the fact that, Jake has done that, I guess speaks volumes of, he doesn't have to do that. Right. But when you do that, it's special, and it's, working and having young kids, to see, I couldn't imagine, like you said, you'll have a fan for life. You'll have a hockey fan for life.
100%. Brownie, enjoy. What's your prediction on the series?
Oh, it's hard. I'm hoping selfishly, but just because I like what it's doing for the city, and for entertainment, I hope it goes 7. I don't want it to end because I love watching. It's just nice to have something.
But if it goes 7, there's a chance they could lose.
Well, why not go 7 and win?
Yeah, well, I agree, but I'm just saying, when it's 7, now it's one game. Anything can happen.
But just the excitement around it, I guess. I mean, this is such a buzz, right? And then it's just such a letdown when all of a sudden, it's over. And we haven't.
But here's the difference. If they win, it doesn't end right away. Then there's a parade, and everywhere for the whole summer, people are talking about, because you've got the older generations who will be like, oh yeah, I remember this. And I remember when they won here.
Yeah.
And then you have the younger generations. And really that's like a few generations that it's been 35 years since they won.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it would be as last season was a very long, short summer. This would be an extremely short summer for Oilers fans. They would relive that moment for a lot of them because, watch parties are bigger now. Those really were a thing in the past. So whether you're at the watch party, whether you're at the game, whether you're watching in your house now, like it's become more of a big event, I find. And social media obviously allows it because what will happen? Somebody will score a big goal. Everybody's going to make montages of the playoffs if they win. And you know what? Randomly on August 9th, someone's going to put up their montage and everyone's going to be like, even though I know exactly what happens, I'm going to watch it again for 5 minutes, right? Because think about, especially guys, and how they watch their favorite movie over and over again.
Yeah.
Are you telling me if they see a 5-minute highlight montage of the 2025 Cup win for the Oilers, if they win?
Yeah.
How many times they'll watch almost every day and they'll never get tired of it.
I think there's like this vintage Oiler tweet that shows up every so often. And I love watching it. I love hearing the names. I love hearing, the different voices of the commentators and stuff like that. So yeah, this is going to stick with us. And you know what? It's the other thing too, is people are probably, I don't even know, have they even gotten over the cost of what last year cost?
Oh yeah.
And now could you imagine, the credit card is just,
I'm sure there's a lot of people that it's, hey, live now, worry later. Brownie, have yourself a great day. We will chat with you next Monday, setting up Game 3.
Awesome. I got to give a quick shout out to Colin Ray and his crew. I know they're big fans of 1440, so keep working, boys.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Let's get to the comment and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice as they take flight with their legendary new Dragon Fruit lineup, introducing the Dragon Slayer Smoothie, the Pink Dragon Booster Mixer, and Dragon Booster Ball. Conquer your cravings today, only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Tampa Bay Lightning have signed forward Yanni Gourde to a 6-year contract extension with an AAV of $2.33 million. Gourde, 33, spent time with the Lightning and Kraken last season, finishing with 7 goals and 31 points. Florida Panthers captain Alexander Barkov has won the 2025 Selfie Trophy, recognizing the forward who best excels the defensive aspects of the game. He also took home the King Clancy Trophy, given to the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice. In the majors, Jays off today, kicking off the series against the Phillies tomorrow. Going in about 40 minutes. You got the Rockies and Marlins, followed by the Red Sox, Angels, Brewers taking on the Reds, White Sox host the Tigers, Padres in San Fran, Athletics meet the Twins, and the Mets in LA for a battle with the Dodgers. And from the NFL, Lions center Frank Ragnow, 4-time Pro Bowl selection in his 7th NFL season, announced his retirement on social media today. The 29-year-old Ragnow entered as a NFL first-round pick with the Lions back in 2018 and was also a 3-time All-Pro. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined on the show by David Beard, center for the Edmonton Elks, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station, CHJR, broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza.
After 3 o'clock on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having
garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese.
Hope you're having an awesome day
with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor.
Hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Ingredients, cheddar pizza.
Well,
Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy,
I'm Ryan Nugent.
In the 4 o'clock hour.
We don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt
40
like
Sports 1440.ca.
never go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal. Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Tall legacy, tall legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Work hard, get dirty, build better communities. If that sounds like a good day's work to you, GS Construction wants you to be part of their team. Right now, GS Construction is looking to hire experienced top men and pipe layers for underground sewer and water work. So if you know your way around a trench, take pride in doing the job right, and want to be part of a crew that has your back, let's get to work together. Apply now at gsconstruction.ca.
Jumpstart your summer with Wendy's delicious drinks. Enjoy a small iced coffee, frosty chino, or frosty fizz for only $1.99. But hurry, get your $1.99 small drink at participating Wendy's, only available until June 29th. Taxes extra.
Are you tossing and turning at night, unable to sleep because of mounting debt? Debt can feel overwhelming, but you don't have to face it alone. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I'm here to guide you every step of the way so you can find peace of mind and finally rest easy. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to book a free consultation and discover your debt-free future.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, the team in Old Strathcona, a special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back. Gregor Halley, Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Lee and Evan, John, Ryan, Riley and Paul, Steve, Philip, Sheldon, Dennis, Dan and Colin. I might have missed someone. Did I get Lee? Yeah, I got Lee. Anyway, I got 12. I know there's 12. We'll put all your names in the hat once I have it on a more official sheet, and then we'll do that just after 5 o'clock. And somebody's going to go to the Order game tomorrow night. Wednesday night. Yeah, don't get you all nervous. Not tomorrow, Wednesday and Friday this week for the games. And then, of course, they'll play next Monday and Thursday in Florida. And there is then the Saturday game 5 in Edmonton on the 14th of June. And if it goes 6, that'll be the 17th, the Tuesday. And then if there is a game 7, it would be Friday night, June 20th in Edmonton. Sure. Would be quite the evening of excitement, but nervousness, I would guess, amongst Oilers Nation. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's get to our conversation now with Jake Wallman. Sat down with Jake yesterday inside the Oilers dressing room. And I have to say, I'll be honest, I didn't really know Jake that well before he signed in Edmonton. I think I might have spoken to him once in an interview in Detroit. I really didn't know him. Since he came to Edmonton, kind of from the first day, sat down, chatted. Obviously, I knew a little bit about his career. We chatted, and I see him quite often now. And he really likes Edmonton. Like, he was here and he would ask, hey, where do you recommend some places to do kind of things? He likes to be outdoors. So obviously, the River Valley. And, when I sat down to talk with him, he's just like, hey, you've gone to the River Valley? No, but his dad's here. And his dad, Glenn, is a huge outdoors guy. So he says, I tell him, you just got to rent a bike and just go in the river valley. And man, you can bike for hours. It's unbelievable. You can almost go right through the city. So him and his younger brother, Noah, is in town with his dad. His mom, Marianne, had to go back home. She couldn't stay here. He was kind of joking. His brother and dad are working remotely while they're here. And obviously he's pretty fired up to have the whole family in town. But I asked him starting off the interview just about how here you are, you're in the Stanley Cup final, and how do you balance the excitement of it with the seriousness of it? How do you balance the excitement of it with the seriousness of it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like every game in these playoffs has kind of been like that, just balancing emotions. But no, obviously really excited. Kind of feels like, a continuation of what we've been doing. So you're kind of in the moment throughout the whole thing. So you're dialed in. At the same time, you got to take a step back and see the position you're in, how exciting it is. But just mostly focus and kind of task at hand type of thing.
What have you learned about yourself in these playoffs, considering you've really never been in the playoffs before?
I think I've kind of proven to myself, proven to other people, and I kind of knew I would be here at some point, and just really proud, to be honest, about how everything's came to be. And we're in a great spot now. Couldn't be more excited and kind of more proud of the situation that we're in. And obviously it's personally it's exciting. Always kind of hope for something like this. So I think the biggest thing I'd say is proud.
Are you able to enjoy it? Do you make sure you take a few moments to enjoy after each round before you focus on the next one?
I think I'm probably one of the guys that likes to disassociate as much as possible from the game when I'm outside of it. So just enjoying time with family and kind of thinking about the next steps, but at the same time just kind of separating myself a little bit to give myself a little bit of a mental break. Just think about kind of the path and what we've been through and accomplishments, and then kind of when we get back to the rink, it's right back at it and dialing in for what's to come.
Some guys never grow a beard this long. I think you're a beard guy, though. So is it easy being a beard guy in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's that was probably one of the biggest things I was excited about, growing a beard. I always keep it pretty trimmed, so it's a good excuse to grow it out and kind of not care about it. So just let it go. And other than COVID, this is the only time I grew my beard this long.
You mentioned you like to dissociate and kind of get away from the game. And there was the story on social media. You had a family at Walmart and they really made the kids day chat with them for 10 minutes. What does that mean to you? Just, when you see kids to go up and introduce themselves, do you kind of say, man, it would have been cool if I was 8 or 10 years old and I got to talk to an NHL player? Is that what you think of when you approach those kids?
I guess I don't really think about it like that anymore, but if you put it that way, then I would have been stoked to meet a Maple Leafs player or something when I was young. Just going to watch them, even skating, was unbelievable. So I've always kind of been the guy that tries to take time out of my day to do something for someone else. And I think growing up in Toronto, being a huge hockey fan, I know it's pretty similar with Edmonton, and kids grow up living, breathing hockey. So when I saw the kid looking at hockey cards, I kind of knew instantly that he was a hockey guy. And it's a good opportunity for me. I think we have the privilege to use our kind of status to improve the lives of others, and whether that's just a little deed like that or going to see special needs or hospital, schools, stuff like that, and kids that are underprivileged. It could be anything, but always looking to kind of use what we use our platform to kind of help other people.
So now we move forward and you start focusing. It's only Sunday and you start focusing for Wednesday's game. From your perspective, you guys have done a great job of taking away the other team's strengths. Play your game, but you eliminated in Vegas and Dallas their chances off the rush, their goals off the rush. How much of that is, the coach sends you the plan, and then are you a big studier to know how to implement it, or is it more like a day before? How does that work over the next few days to get ready and prepared for this series?
Yeah, I think we do a little bit every day. It's kind of like studying for a test almost. Same thing in school. You do break it up into pieces and focus on things every day. Today we did a little bit of pre-scout and
tendencies, stuff like that of them. And very similar team to us, very, very good team, very deep. They don't make many mistakes. They track really hard. I think that's probably the biggest thing that we're good at. And you saw with those teams that are really great off the rush, it'll be another one of those teams. And biggest thing is getting back and having guys above the puck. And that's kind of the definition of a mature team. I think it's kind of instilled into everybody's brain at this point to track above and defense first kind of thing and take our chances when we get them.
And then as a defenseman, Florida's going to be the most physical team. I think they're the only team in the league that has more hits than you guys in the playoffs. They forecheck harder. As a D-man, how do you prepare for that differently, knowing that they're coming more often than other teams?
I'll let you keep it. Yeah, I think I don't know. Be ready for it, I guess. But yeah, that's obviously their game. Be ready for it. Know it's coming, and hopefully we can kind of maybe counterattack that a little bit, use it to our advantage somehow. But yeah, it'll be fun every time. Every time it's physical, emotions get high, and no better spot we want to be in the game mentally and physically. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun, and of course it'll be a little more fun if the Oilers can get a win. But it's interesting, Wallman talking about the importance. Hey, you know what? I like to do things if it can make someone else's day a little bit better. And, for him to go up and initiate that conversation, I think was fantastic with Luke, Jake, and Emma. And it's a great memory for them. And, obviously buying the cards at the end is a nice bonus for sure. But it's more the conversation, right? Like I don't care who it is. If somebody gives you their time and treats you well, you always remember them. You just do. And so Wallman has really enjoyed playing in a Canadian market. He grew up in Canada. He does have a dual citizenship because his mom's American, but he grew up and you heard him there talk about, man, I'd be stoked if I'd have been a Maple Leaf player. So you think about how many kids out there would just, have the opportunity to meet an Oiler. And it doesn't really matter who it is, right? Like my son still talks about one day I was able to take him to practice. And he's standing there, and you're not allowed to go in the room because that's where he works. So he's staying out there, which is fine. And Vincent Desharnais comes off the ice, and Vinny's obviously a huge guy, but on skates he's got like 6'9". And my son's standing there, and Vinny, I could just stand there, and I'm over here on like 10 feet away interviewing, and Vinny just go, "Hey man, how's it going?" Sits down, talks to him, and my son still talks about it, right? Because hey, you want to get a picture, so you get a picture. And Vinny on skates, he's like massive, and my son follows him, knows where he's playing, and, he follows his career now. It just is like, hey, because he took some time, asked him a few questions. Do you play hockey? Very simple stuff. But for a 9-year-old kid, that was a pretty big deal. So I can only imagine how it was. And I know, we got a lot of people texting in Triple C's like, guys, that's how Glenn Anderson was always my favorite player. He would always used to do those signings at Gasland back in the day. Which remember, Cal Nichols in Gasland? Yeah, he was like a big spokesperson for them. And you go out there. I know that Matthias Ekholm, they've done some of those at Volvo with the Swedes. And, Matthias Ekholm's there. And, I've talked to Mike Norris and Jordy about it when he goes there, like just how he treats people. And it's not just the kids. I think there's a lot of adults, too, that are a little starstruck when they get to meet an Oiler player. And not just meet them, but, have an actual, conversation. And so it's an important one. And the great part about it, I think, and I think people could learn from it, is the kids just treated him just normal, right? And that's all. Just have a normal conversation. As hard as it is, internally you can be fanboying or fangirling all you want, but if you just go normal, it'll be a much better interaction on both sides. So. Hey, guys, I met Buckberger and Bukaboom when I was 7 years old in the early 80s. I met Bucky again during 06 in the Cup run. I bought him a beer. Still remember both times. Corey from Leduc. Yeah, imagine that, right? A lot different. But you'll remember that as a kid. Someone gives you their time as a player, you're automatically going to remember. There's no chance you won't. It's, Ryan Smith did a lot of those. George Larac, there's a lot of people that like George just because, he's out and about and interacted, met with a lot of different people. So it's good on Wallman, new guy in town, and it always helps when the team's winning. Make no mistake about it. But you want to make an impression on some young kids, you give them a little bit of your time, and you come up to them, and they're probably like, "What? It's Jake Wallman. Oh my God. Imagine that being 8, 9 years old. You'd be pretty pumped up. When we return, David Beard is going to join us. We'll talk a little green and gold. They got a huge game coming up this weekend. They did finally got the number 1 unit on the field for a bit. So we'll ask David how he think that went. We got Mark Spector, DVD coming up, 5 questions. Woodley, we moved. Kevin's going to join us tomorrow on the show to get his breakdown. I know many of you are waiting for it because it's obviously very in-depth on Sergei Bobrovsky and how does Florida attack, what's Skinner going to have to be aware of. So we'll get to that on tomorrow's show. It is also Media Day, the Panthers and Oilers. So there'll be lots of conversations with all the players. We'll hear from Darnell Nurse, Matthias Ekholm a little bit later on in the show as well. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We're getting the game, the Oilers. Game 1 favorites. PlayAlberta.ca.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with a tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer.
Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. Guys used to call me a plumber, and now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like time for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Baseball goes Bollywood with your Edmonton Riverhawks this Friday night. Catch the pre-game kabaddi match and the energetic beats of Bhangra and Bollywood dancing. Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
I'm tired of waking up tired. Waking up tired. Yeah, waking up tired.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Come visit our sleep experts at the Brick Mattress Store. Get Canada's guaranteed lowest prices on all things sleep. Plus, try your new mattress for 6 months. If you don't love it, we'll find one you do. Some conditions apply. Stop waking up tired. Get the right mattress guaranteed. Only at the Brick Mattress Store.
You need truly, baby.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Man, this day is just rolling by. Woo! Lots going on in the sporting world, of course. It is Stanley Cup Finals week, NBA Finals week, CFL kickoff week. It's awesome. So much going on. Of course, you got the Stingers in action. They got the week off, but they'll be back on the court on the weekend. You got the Riverhawks coming up this week. Whew! There is, if you're a sports fan, baby, there is no shortage of sports to be enjoyed this week. It's awesome. Now, let's get to our football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They are hiring. If you want to work for a fantastic local company, competitive wages, matching RSPs, tuition reimbursement, and even a hiring bonus, go to legacyheating.ca. And we are joined now by CFL Grey Cup champion, also CFL All-Star, and has returned for his second tour with the Edmonton Eskimos. David Beard joins us. David, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, great. Thanks. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're good. You come home. It's not often that you get to, of course, right here from Edmonton. Well, let's be honest. Let's say Sherwood Park and pump up, Pride of Bev Facey, and you know what? Then you end up playing for the then Eskimos, and you win a Grey Cup, and then you go to Hamilton for a few years, and now you're back. Easy decision for you as a free agent to come back home?
Oh, definitely. I over the lots of conversations that I've had in the transition, it's funny. You bleed green and gold, and this goes back all the way back into junior high. Like the first football team I ever played for was green and gold, and I've never lost the gold throughout the years, but I've been green and gold kind of throughout, and it's hard. You kind of bury it in the bottom of the closet and stuff in the box, and you try and suppress it while you're gone, and you're choosing your loyalty for the short term. But it feels so good to let it back out and enjoy it for what it is. So it's great to be back. I'm thrilled. It's a great club, and we got great people here, and that's the best part is that we get the right people in the building, and we're just firing all cylinders. We're ready to roll.
So you got the opportunity for the first team offense to get almost a full half. I know Trey left, late in the half, as did some of the old linemen. And then in the second half, got some other guys battling for spots. Kind of take us through, having been around for a decade now. What did you make of that time, and where you feel the offense is at?
Yeah. You know what? It's funny when you spend time in camp, you're constantly in these scripted scenarios, and you never really get a complete feel on how the team is. Where we're at in terms of efficiency and chemistry and all the rest of it. And so you kind of go through camp wondering, okay, so we can execute that thing, but it requires a full speed game to be able to find out where we're at completely as a team. And it's nice to see the team kind of come together. We played a bunch of three-phase football the other night, and that wasn't just between the first team. Like, that was complementary football with the first team, second team, and third team. So it was cool to see offense get rolling early. We got a couple scores there. Justin Rankin was a huge highlight there in the first quarter, and got the fans on their feet a little bit, so that was great. And then we saw special teams come through with a big flip field and some returns, and then defense came through with a big goal line stop, and then we actually had our third unit offensively come through at the end and finish with a big score to win the game. So, man, like it was a real treat to be able to see that. I would say that's not a common thing, especially in preseason, to see an unpolished third group. And I say that with love and respect, because it's like they're the third group, and they're trying to make the spot, and they have a fraction of the amount of reps that the first team has, right? So big hats off to them. They did an amazing job, and it was really cool to see the team kind of come together and play complementary football.
Yeah, well, you know what? You always want to win games, David, and I know it's preseason. People say, it doesn't matter, but once you put the jersey on, you want to win. And it gives you better vibes. So now you're going to start on the road against the BC Lions. And I know you played against them last year, but kind of what's your impressions early on of Trey Ford, your young quarterback?
Yeah, it's awesome. Trey is absolutely electric. I mean, it's the kind of talk of the town for the club. Trey is a total sky's the ceiling kind of guy. Like he has all kind of potential to take this club all the way to the big show, and we're really excited to be working with him. He's fun to work with. He's dynamic, being that he can throw the ball and run. So it's been a lot of fun. He's a young quarterback that's getting his first opportunity. He's doing a great job doing it so far.
And I talked to Dunbar about it, and he said, for a young guy, like, one of the biggest things is how a quarterback kind of controls the huddle, right? And you want him to control it. Now, some guys are really loud and vocal. Others can be very calm. It depends. Ricky Ray and Jason Moss were very different in the huddle. Is Trey more of a soft-spoken guy in the huddle?
Yeah, I mean, if I describe Trey in the huddle, he's just very to the point. He's very intentional with his time, and he's just getting the call out there, making sure everyone's on the same page, and he's clear and concise. That's the bottom line. There's not a whole lot of chit chat. There's not a whole lot of extra fluff. It's just straight to the point, and that's a serious asset to have, knowing that you're not going to be distracted with the ups and downs of the game. So
I know your offense. They want him to stay in the pocket like everybody does, but he still has that ability to scramble out. And then there's going to be some set plays where he's going to roll out. As an offensive lineman, when you've got that mobile of a quarterback, does it change at all how you block in certain situations?
Certainly, and you don't always know when that situation is, to be honest. Trey's going to absolutely save our butts from time to time. We're gonna physically get beat every once in a while, and we're gonna wish we had a play back here and there. And you know what? That's where Trey's skills get to shine, and his ability to evade and get out of there is going to be a huge asset to us in those moments where we come up short. But on the flip side of that token, Trey is so mobile that he's going to be able to see opportunities and take them, and we're going to have to be able to adjust on the fly. And that's going to be the kind of thing that you get used to, and you kind of grow a set of eyes in the back of your head, and you're trying to, just stay in front of him, stay between the defenders and him. And it's kind of a process that's going to go throughout the season, and we're going to get better and better throughout the year. So
when you see it firsthand, though, right? Like Dave, most players tell me once you have a teammate and you see him every day, you get a better appreciation than if you play against them once or twice a year, right? Like a guy might have a real great game, but sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I heard that guy's really good, but geez, I didn't really see it until you see it in practice. His elusiveness, but more so just his quickness. And I know it's funny because he says Ty, his twin brother, might be a bit quicker, but when you're there in front, like, are you surprised just how quick he can move, specifically laterally away from pressure?
Oh, 100%. And truthfully, I'm doing something wrong if I'm looking straight at him. But
yeah.
you know what? What I can see is defenders reacting to him, and you can see them flipping in their boots. They're trying to find which way he's going to end up going, and you can see it. It is actually, there are moments of comedy out there where you're looking at the defense and you're trying to stay in front of them, and they're bending over trying to get in front of them, and it just isn't working. Just isn't working. So it's a real treat to see him. He is elusive. Bottom line.
David Beer joins us, of course, a longtime CFL offensive lineman, back with the Elks for the second time in his career. They'll open up the season this weekend on the road against the BC Lions. Dave, not only do you have an elusive quarterback, but you mentioned Rankin. And so you've got Rankin, and I know you guys call him the tank. And you know what? And he's a real bull. Like, he can run over guys, but he's also quick. Like, you get him a hole, and as an offensive lineman, I'm sure you're just like, guys, all we got to do is hold a hole for a second and a half, and he's going right through it, right? And then you throw in Javon Leake, who might even be quicker. Like, does it excite the O-lineman when you have game breakers in your backfield, not just necessarily, guys who run over guys?
Oh, it's absolutely awesome. And you know what, like you're talking about Javon and Rank, like they're both two very different backs.
Yeah.
But they complement each other so well. But here's the real thing that I'd like to say is both of them can serve each other's roles, which is a huge deal in terms of disguising our offense. Like, there's no question that Leak can get in there and run inside zone and get down the pipes. Like, there's no stopping them there either, right? So it's like, it's sweet to be able to have backs that are both have different skill sets, but can play each other's roles also, and that's going to help our offense immensely.
Dave, you're in Edmonton. Now, were you an Oilers fan growing up at all?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I thought I was going to the NHL when I was a kid. So,
well, hey, join the club like a lot of people. What happened? Did you just grew too big and you're like, maybe I'll be an offensive lineman instead?
Yeah, you know what? I missed my hockey tryouts. We were moving from Central Alberta to Sherwood Park, and I missed my hockey tryouts. And my dad said, "Hey, you know what? My colleague's son's going to go try out for football. You should try that." And I begrudgingly agreed and figured I'd try going with football. And it turns out it worked out pretty good.
How old were you when that happened?
I was grade 7. So, yeah, I just kind of finished up Pee Wee and about to go into Bantam, but I missed it on the move. So, it's all good now.
So that was it. You're just like, and you went to football. Was it love at first practice, or how did that go?
Oh, definitely not. I was real good at keeping the bench warm that first year of the Rams. So it was fun. I learned lots, and you know what? It was just novel, and so you kind of stick with it and enjoy it. And I was trying to be like my dad at this point, where he was a basketball player, so I was trying to focus on the court and that kind of stuff, and filled my falls with some football. But I missed hockey for a little while, and it's one of those things. I'll pick up some men's league afterwards. I
was just going to say, you can still skate?
Oh yeah, come on! It's like riding a bike.
Oh, there you go. It's soft hands.
I don't know about that. I was D-man, so.
Oh, that's fair. Hey, but D-man nowadays, there's no more off the glass and out. If you're a D-man, you gotta be able to carry the puck or be a good passer.
Yeah, well, I'm nowhere near the Bush category, so I'll leave him to the glory work.
So now you're in training camp, and obviously you're focused a lot on it. But you guys get together as a team? Are you watching any of the playoff games?
Yeah, totally. We're going to be getting together here Wednesday night, so we're pretty excited about that. But truthfully, during training camp, it's been mostly highlights.
Yeah.
I've been catching the ends of games and stuff, and a little bit of time I do have home. I'm trying to catch up with the kids and stuff like that. So it's been tight for camp, but now we're out of camp. And so this is our first kind of game where I feel like I'm going to be able to watch the whole game. So it'll be good.
Now, when you watch it, do you watch it with a bunch of guys who know hockey? Do you bring in a few of your teammates where you kind of got to explain the rules of hockey to them?
No, it's just mostly just banter. We're just enjoying it for what it is. I hardly know all the rules anyway, so it's kind of one of those things where you just enjoy it and get together as the fellas and hang out and enjoy a good game and support the local team, man.
Well, you know what? Hey, they're going to that. I know the Elks are hoping to start off the season well. What about, having a bye week early on in the year? How do you approach that?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of interesting. I don't actually know how I feel about it quite yet. We're feeling really good already. Coach Killam's looked after us with camp and saving our legs and going into the season healthy. So we'll find out what it's like. I don't remember the last time I had a bye week this early, but either way, we're going to be fresh going into that second game. So it'll be something to find out how it goes. And just a little extra time to prepare for the next opponent.
Well, it is something that is different, no question. You mentioned training camp, because the last 2 years in Edmonton, I would say they had a different philosophy, and there was a lot of reps, and guys were pretty banged up. That I know from Chris Morstead, Hervey down to Killam, that was something where hey, we're going to change it. Can you just talk about how much different and maybe fresh you feel coming out of camp compared to maybe other years?
Yeah, you know what? I've had a few years throughout the last decade where you kind of come out of camp thinking, holy smokes, how many more years am I going to put up with this? But coming out of this camp, I feel way, way more fresh. The balance on the workload was right on point. We had a great rhythm of work days and rest days and something in between. So it was really good. I know that one of our staff had made a comment to the team saying, hey, this is some of the most healthy rosters we've ever had coming out of a camp. So we're really excited about that. And we know that football is a physical sport and there's injuries that happen, but man, it's sure great to start off on a good foot.
Do you have a sense of what and who Mark Killam will be as a head coach yet, or do you just need to see him in regular season action?
Yeah, we definitely have a sense. He's been leading the team already for 4 weeks now, and in terms of being in front of the team, and it's been awesome. I think here's what I'll say. During my time in Hamilton the last couple of years, his reputation preceded him. You'd play with guys who'd played in Calgary over the last 2 decades, and you hear such good things, and you hear no matter what the year was for Calgary, they'd always say what a stand-up guy Killam was and how awesome Killam was, and he was just a steady rock over there. And so his reputation preceded him through conversation, and now he just proves it again, coming to Edmonton and leading the guys here. So it's been evident what he thinks about this team and how he wants to carry this team, and we're looking forward to seeing how the season goes. And we're nothing but optimistic. So.
Well, David, always good to catch up with you, man. Welcome back to Edmonton. Best of luck Saturday night against the BC Lions, and it could be a great week for sports fans in Edmonton. A few Oiler wins and an Elks win.
Come on, let's make it happen. Thanks for having me.
You betcha. David Beard, of course, from Bev Facey, and back in Edmonton. I know it was crucial. They talked about just having experience on the offensive line and how much it's going to help, not only in the run game but pass protection. And I think Beard's going to be a huge addition to the O-line for the green and gold. And it's interesting listening to a player talk about just how fresh they feel coming out of camp, which hasn't been the case in the past. And you can still get a good amount of reps in without overtaxing guys. And I think there's so much more studies done now on, the importance of rest. And and football is a game where there has to be a little bit of your body getting comfortable and used to, the physical contact, no question. But I don't think it has to go to the levels that some coaches decide that you have to go to. So we'll see how it plays out. But the green and gold are very healthy to start the season. And we'll see. They got a big game in BC. Both Buck Pierce and Mark Hill will be their first regular season game. Obviously, they just went head-to-head in the preseason, but I think it's safe to say it's a little bit different. So we'll see. The Elks is the final game of the week, as, of course, the season will kick off Thursday, Ottawa, Saskatchewan. Friday has Toronto and Montreal. And then Saturday has two games, Hamilton and Calgary. And then the Elks in BC is the late game at 8 p.m. because that's 7 p.m. in BC. So it's perfect timing, really. You got Oilers Wednesday, Oilers Fridays, Elks Saturday. Mixed in, you got the Riverhawks this week. You got the Stingers. Whew, loving it. Lots of sports to get. Also NBA with the four Canadians. If you like the Pacers, they got two. If you like the Thunder, they got two. We'll come back. I know what you like is 5 questions. Then after that, we're going to do our draw just after 5 o'clock. Someone's going to the Order game, game 1 tomorrow. We'll also have Spec DVD in the final hour on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50. That's Gregor50. Get a free $50 play when you sign up. If you're already in, it's June, so you get a new one.
If you bleed orange and blue and you're not using the all-new Play Alberta Sports and Casino app, then you're missing out. It's the only online sportsbook with odds boosts on all Oilers games. And now, it's not just sports. Play the slots, hit the tables, buy lottery tickets, all in one app, all across Alberta. Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and use promo code GOAL for a $100 bonus. That's promo code GOAL!
Dang, last season you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang, they didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
For a rock-solid start on all your spring and summer projects, Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete to septic tanks, precast water pads to outhouses, plus aggregates, landscaping supplies, and more. Renos, construction. Start planning right now at BashawConcrete.com or call 780-372-3854. That's 780-372-3854. Family owned and operated, proudly serving Albertans since 1963. Bashaw Concrete Products.
A fire ban is now in place for northern and central parts of Alberta where wildfire danger is extreme. Because of hot, windy conditions, wood-burning fires are not permitted on public or private land. For more information about bans or restrictions in your area, visit albertafirebans.ca. To report wildfires in the forest protection area, call 310-FIRE. That's 310-FIRE. A message from the government of Alberta.
Jumpstart your summer with Wendy's delicious drinks. Enjoy a small iced coffee, frosty chino, or frosty fizz for only $1.99. But hurry, get your $1.99 small drink at participating Wendy's, only available until June 29th. Taxes extra.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I know there's no such thing as a free lunch. But when you bring your used RV to No Bull, I'll give you a free roof assessment. Now, what do I mean by that? It means we'll climb up and take a real close look at all the joints and connections and seals on your roof and give you a written report on what's going on up there.
How often do people get up on the roof of their RV, Rick?
Not often enough, Bob. You should do this twice a year.
Would I know what to look for if I did it myself?
Maybe. Depends on how experienced you are in RV maintenance. But remember, there's no free lunch. There's a 1 out of 10 chance I'm going to sell you something. But what I want to sell you is a small repair. The kind we catch before there's a lot of water damage, rather than the kind that costs you thousands once the leak is visible from the inside. And 9 times out of 10, the assessment is really free. And it's also free to know you'll be safe and dry this camping season.
And that's No Bull. NoBullRV.ca.
Curious, Low Tide, Jason Gregor. They are all ready for the Cup run. Sports 1440 is your home for all things hockey, including our pre- and post-game show with Andrew Walker. Sports 1440 is Edmonton's sports leader.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Our 50. Welcome back. Gregor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Monday afternoon. Man, it's a busy sports week. Calendar just turned to June. Love it. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where saving you more is what they do at The Brick. Furniture, mattresses, appliances, big screen TVs, you name it, they got it at great prices. The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Plenty of storylines to choose from. What would you say the biggest one is for the Oilers-Panthers series coming up on Wednesday?
Go ahead.
You know what, for me, I just think you look at the big stars, the Edmonton Oilers, and their legacies. I think that's something that, you know, the trolls on the internet, their opinion is minimal, but it's something, and they'll always point it out. No cups for Connor McDavid, no cups for Leon Draisaitl. This is the chance for them to go out there and get the biggest goal in their sport and silence all those people, and then, you know, almost everything on the resume is checked off. So I think for their legacy, something that they can really elevate their game here and get some help from their teammates to accomplish, I think that's my biggest storyline.
Okay, that's a good one. For me, it's going to be that Edmonton. The biggest storyline going into this for me is I still don't think people are respecting Edmonton enough, to be honest. I think everybody's like, hey, Florida's great. And, you know, Edmonton can't handle them. But they lost in game 7 last year, for goodness sakes. Went to 7 games. It was a pretty close series. So I think the storyline for me in Edmonton is how I think people are going to be surprised at how Edmonton's commitment to making the right play defensively continues, because that's been a key for their success against Vegas and Dallas.
Question number 2 for you. Who do you think is the biggest X factor in this series?
Okay, well, we obviously can't take the obvious players. Okay. X factor, I'll pick one for each team. I think for Florida, if Lawson Rainen continues to play the way he has, that's going to be huge for them. And I'm going to go for Edmonton. I'm going to say Evander Kane. I think he can bring some offense. He's playing on line with Draisaitl, so you got to produce. But just the physicality and being engaged in the game, I think can be a big help early on. And the thing about Kane is when he's out there, there won't be as much shenanigans or hooligan. And if there is, he'll be there right away. So I'll say Kane.
Took the words out of my mouth with Evander Kane. Like, I think that's a great one just because, going back, Matthew Tkachuk's going to be running around. Well, he did that in the Oilers-Flames series, and that was kind of neutralized after game one. So I think that Evander Kane, just what he's brought to this lineup, the swagger, the physicality, then chipping in with the offense, he can be the ultimate X factor. If I have to throw another one out there, I'll just say Matthias Ekholm. I mean, that's a guy who they get in here, played one game. This will be his first full series. If he's Matthias Ekholm of the past, what a huge advantage that'll be for the Edmonton Oilers. Question number 3 for you. Officially week 1 of the CFL season. So right now, who's your pick to meet in the Grey Cup?
No, jeez. Oh man. I'm gonna probably go Montreal, and I think Winnipeg's run's gonna end. So I'll say BC.
All right. I'm gonna, because it's week 1 and who knows, I'm gonna say it's gonna be the Riders representing the West and the Edmonton Elks coming out of the East. They go crossover and then they go on a run, and we get a battle of the West in the Grey Cup. Elks, Riders. Question number 4 for you. The Seattle Mariners going to retire Randy Johnson's number 51 next season. Pretty cool number, I think. Unique. When you think of number 51, any other player come to mind?
A 51 for any player. Oh, God, that's a good question. Well, nowadays, it's different because, high numbers never really used to be a thing. And so they are now. But the thing about it is 51, Ichiro was 51.
Yeah.
So that, think about it for the Mariners, they're going to retire. So what happens? Does Ichiro's not get retired?
So his was being retired in August, and then they're doing Randy Johnson next year.
But they're both 51?
2 51s will be retired, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess. Yeah,
very unique.
That's got to be no, maybe some other teams would have it, but yeah, it's hard to have 2 superstars with the same jersey because usually it's kind of retired before the other one comes. But not saying they came back to back, but God, that's really good. I'm gonna go. I can't really think of one off the top of my head now. If I go unique number, but I'll say it's in Edmonton, 97 in a lot of other places for a hockey player would be unique, but doesn't really stand out in Edmonton now because he's just one of the greatest players. So how about I'll go Stamkos 91.
Well, for me, 51 is always going to be Connor Halley, U10 soccer.
Did I have to pick a 51?
It has to be 51.
Then Troy Stetcher.
Troy Stetcher. Mine was...
that's easy. I thought it could be... I didn't be any number. Oh, jeez. I just wasted a lot of time there. Sorry.
Me inspired by Andrei Kovalenko. But another one, I'll shout out to Takeo Spikes, longtime NFL linebacker, who probably had the biggest neck I've ever seen.
Oh, I thought I misheard you. I thought it had to be another number. I'm like, what? Just some random. But 51, that's funny. I can remember lots of 51s, but I couldn't remember a 52. I'm like Patrick Russell, I guess so. But
yeah. Question at number 5 for you. It was on this day in 2004. Ken Jennings began his 74-game winning streak on Jeopardy. So if you could take part in any game show, which would you choose?
When you think about streaks, that's got to be up there as one of the most impressive streaks.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you don't know who you're competing against. And you obviously have to have a pretty good broad wealth of knowledge to win that many shows with that many different topics. So I'll give him credit, man. When we talk streaks, 74. Oh.
It's 34 more than the next closest.
Somebody else won 40?
Amy Schneider. Then someone else did 38, 32,
really?
23. That's your top 5, yeah.
Amy Schneider?
When
did she do that?
2022.
Oh, so just recent.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? Because she didn't even come close to Ken Jennings, and I don't really watch Jeopardy anymore. Never heard about her. So, which show would I choose? Wheel of Fortune.
Good pick.
I'm really good at fitting. I do puzzles all the time. I think I'd be quite good at that one. It's not like they're overly, highly intelligent ones where you have to think of a phrase or something that, never heard of. So I think I could do okay. I have no idea. Like, would I learn to spin the wheel? That's the key, right? Like, do you get the proper weight so you could do it? Yeah. So I'm going to go Wheel of Fortune.
Good pick. I was thinking Family Feud, but then you're relying on
you
other
got
people.
You got
so
too many.
tough.
There's way too many random parts in it. That would be more fun, I think. But I can't say that I'd be good at it per se.
No, I think I'm going Deal or No Deal.
Oh,
very simple, like brainless. I take the money or don't.
You got to get a little bit lucky though. Or are you picking the right suitcase?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then deciding, where do you settle, and that temptation of saying no deal and going for more. But I think that'd be a fun one.
How many times can you win in a row in Wheel of Fortune? Can you only go a week?
I think just one. Yeah.
You can only win one day. You don't get to come back.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well, that sucks. I'd want the whatever show it is. I'd like to have a show where I could come back the next day.
Family Feud or Jeopardy. That's two I know for sure.
Those are the only two?
I think so.
What kind of game shows are we? Obviously, shows what I watch. I don't really watch any game shows, but come on. I think you get more people interested if you have a return champion. You want to take down the champ. Makes it more entertaining.
Especially on the wheel. Like I would not be opposed to them bringing back the champ. Yeah.
Hey, Gregor, what about Squid Games? Jordan. You know what, Jordan? I have no idea on Squid Game. Like, I've seen it. Like, I've never watched an episode, but like I've seen previews of it, but I don't even really know how Squid Game works. Connor, do you?
Yeah. If you don't win, you die.
I mean, you die. Like in real life?
Well, in the show, yeah. Like that's how they get eliminated. They die.
But how do they die? Like you don't physically die. So like what are they, a character?
No, like you die. So the first one, it's like a red light, green light. And if you move after they say red light, the little doll thing shoots you. Oh,
is squid juice?
Bullets.
Oh, but you're not okay. So you like fake die on the show?
Well, it's not a real TV show. Like it's not a real.
Oh, it's a movie, Squid Game?
It's a TV show. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like a game show. God, I'm really out of the ball here.
No, so yeah,
I'm like Connor Halley to movies when it comes to me on TV shows lately.
In the show, you die. Yes, the characters die.
I thought Squid Game was a game here. What the hell are we doing? Jeez.
Yeah, you don't want to go on Squid Game.
No,
I don't think so. The premise is they find people who are like in massive debt, and this is how they can get out of it by winning Squid Games.
And how many contestants are there?
A couple hundred. They put them in. They take them to an island and participate in this game.
Ooh. Hey, Gregor, what about Beat the Schwab? Beat the Schwab was a great game. That guy was good, man. Like I watched that all the time. That was unreal. That guy had. But it was a lot of like the college football because now it's like anything. If you would study and read up on it, you'd have a better chance. So I would have had to bone up my skills on it. But there were certain sports I was much better at. Some of them you'd like, what are you talking about? But then there's other ones where you could just fire it off pretty easily. But I love the premise of that show actually. Right, like it would be like name Stanley Cup winners in the salary cap era. Do. So now most people would get it. But what if it was name Conn Smythe trophy winners in the salary cap era? Some would be pretty easy. But then others, you'd be like, who won in 2014? I can't give you the answer. You got to know. And away you go. So I did actually like that. That show was great. So, hey, Gregor, there is a real Squid Game where you just get eliminated. Thank you, Daniel. That's what I thought I saw. Okay. That makes more sense now.
Okay, I haven't seen that show.
Yeah, there you go. See, I wasn't losing my mind. Hey, boys, what about The Price is Right? Well, first of all, you got to be it's random. Like you go there, you sit in the audience, and you got like a 1 in how many people are in the audience? 200. So you got like a 1 in 30, 1 in 33 chance to make it. So yeah, I like The Price is Right. But if I want to go on a show where I know when the show starts, I'm on it. Right? Like Wheel of Fortune, you qualify. I don't want to waste my time and go there, just sit in the audience. But I'm sure people that go there love it. Now, that's why Price is Right Cons is never at the top of my list for a game show because there's no guarantee you get to play. I'm on The Price is Right. I mean, I'm on the Wheel of Fortune. I know I'm playing.
Would you go? Like if they said, you're in studio, we'll get you right in.
For Price is Right?
Yeah.
So you're saying, okay, if we can get you on, well, yeah, of course. Why not?
What game would you want to play outside of Plinko?
Yes, I wouldn't want to play Plinko. I didn't like Plinko.
Okay.
No. I wanted to play the game usually where you get like 3 or 4. You roll the dice game, and you got to roll the dice, and you can get more dice by when you if you get high or low. So I would go with that one.
Good pick.
Yeah. So I never really I know what people love Plinko. I never really liked Plinko. It was just like rarely did you get the $1,000, or now I think it's $5,000 down the middle. Like, yeah, it's totally lucky. I don't like it. The other one would be the hiker up the hill. I kind of like that one, right?
Yeah.
Yodely. Oh, is it the yodeler? No. So
Cliffhanger.
yeah, it's Cliffhanger. Nice. It's almost annoying as the woman in the opening scene of Cliffhanger. It's one of the few movies I've watched in my life where I was happy when someone died early in the movie. Just a random thought, but I still remember it. I was like, God, she's kind of annoying. And then she died. I'm like, oh, she's out. Didn't mind it at all. Quick break. We'll come back. We got Mark Spector, DVD, Darnell Nurse, Matthias Ekholm, and a busy final hour. And we'll do the draw. Somebody's going to the game. Game 1 on Wednesday night. Oilers and the Panthers after Connor Halley. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Are you planning a summer road trip? Well, the last thing you need to do is be stuck on the side of the road. So stop in at Fountain Tire. From tire checks to oil change, alignments, and brake inspections, they do it all. One stop, fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Florida Panthers captain Alexander Barkov has won the 2024-25 Selke Trophy, recognizing the forward who best excels in defensive aspects of the game. He also took home the King Clancy Trophy today, given to the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice. The Tampa Bay Lightning have signed forward Yanni Gourde to a 6-year contract extension with an AAV of $2.33 million. Gourde, 33, split time last season with the Lightning and Kraken, finishing with 7 goals and 31 points. Major League Baseball, the Jays off today. They'll kick off a series with the Phillies tomorrow. Right now, the Marlins on top of the Rockies 3-1 in the second. Later, you got the Angels and Red Sox. Reds host the Brewers, Tigers in Chicago, meeting the White Sox, Giants, Padres, Twins, Athletics, and the Dodgers hosting the New York Mets. And from the NFL, Detroit Lions center Frank Ragnow, 4-time Pro Bowl selection in his 7th season, announced his retirement on social media. The 29-year-old entered the league as a first-round pick of the Lions back in 2018. Coming up in Hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further
Sherbrooke Liquor. Sherbrooke is a house of curiosities, a mom and pop, a curated experience that is equal parts wine tastings and 2 fours for May long. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through a Monday afternoon. How are you? The Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenues stay right in their favor at PlayAlberta.ca. Now, before we get to spec, we're going to do our draw today. As one of you is going to get, I got my little draw basket here, and we'll put the names in. I just want you to see them as they go in. Ryan, you're in. John, you're in. Philip, you're in. Evan, there you go. You see your name. Good. Dan, nice. Lee, Riley, Colin, Paul, Dennis, and Sheldon. All right. I'm going to shake up our high-level box here. Declan, you're going to come over. You're going to do the draw today. All right. Spinning it off. So everybody who curses, just be a deck. I'm kidding. So here we go. You'll see Declan's hand. We'll put it in. There we go. There we go. Put it in. Spinning around. Who you got? Give me the name. Oh, the Big E. Evan, congratulations. You are going to game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Good for you. Thanks, everybody, for playing and donating for the Gregor Foundation. We very much appreciate it. And, hey, that's a good deal. Hopefully you enjoy the game. Evan, something tells me you will. No question about it. Now, let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists, where they say nobody works during the Stanley Cup Finals. Take your time off. GS Construction. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. It's nice to be down at the rink today. You can see things are changing down there. It's starting to look like a cup final.
Yeah, 100%. So, the rink is under renovation, really. The NHL, all their stuff comes in. Now you're getting scanned, Spec. It's like 5 minutes to get in the building. They're always worried about stuff. So I'm surprised you actually got through today, but you did. That little pocket knife you carry around. Finally, I thought it was going to catch up to you. But looking at this, I guess let's start first with Barkov. He wins his 3rd consecutive Selke. You got Reinhart, who's gets votes. Leon Draisaitl finishes 6th in voting.
Yeah, well, that was interesting. I see Elliot Friedman had him as the only first place vote. That was interesting. Barkov's, listen, what more are you going to say about him? I guess pertaining to this series, I wonder if if Barkov was pretty effective against McDavid in game 2 and 3, not so much in game 1 last year. And then again in game 7. They kept McDavid completely off the board. So the rest of the time, McDavid won the battle. So it'll be interesting to see if that matchup happens this year. And with McDavid and Draisaitl on separate lines, I suggest it will, certainly in Florida. Let's see if the great Selke winner can handle McDavid more nights than he doesn't.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit different doing it every night against other guys in the league than doing it against, and really that's for any player, right? You get a good matchup and you can do it. And so you're right. Hey, might not do it every game, but if you do it in one game and that's the difference in winning the series, well, then obviously you did your job at times. So I look at that matchup. I'm sure, if you're Paul Maurice, Barkov wants the matchup. Now you're on the road. It's not like, you're going to go crazy for line matches. I'm more so, as much as it is the center iceman, a lot of it was Forsling that you look at to say, hey, we would like to get Forsling out there against McDavid.
Yeah, listen, every team that the Oilers play, I mean, it was Eichel and Pietrangelo, right? It was Deneau and Doughty. You know, it was who's Dallas? You know, who was it in Dallas? I mean, they like to get
Heiskanen
in Dallas and Heiskanen for sure. So every team McDavid plays here, there's the top defensive pair and the best defensive centerman, basically. Or some coaches will go with his best offensive centerman head to head, and that hasn't proven to be a great idea over the years. So, yeah, it's never one guy on McDavid. And like we've heard the quote a million times, Jay. How do you stop Connor McDavid? It takes all 5 guys. All 5 guys have to play the right way. So, you know, yeah, it's not one guy. Never will be one guy. But, you know, it is amazing in the playoffs that McDavid continues to, you know, generally lead the playoffs in scoring or be top 1 or 2 or 3 with the amount of attention he gets. Like, he gets everybody's top pair. When he's on the road, and the Oilers have a really good road record here. They're playing good road hockey. He's on the road. He just gets a force-fed all their best defensive guys, and he still produces. It's fairly amazing, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking at the minutes from last year. He played 73 minutes against Forsling and 70 minutes against Ekblad. That was obviously their top pair. Then it dropped down to, it was really kind of split. 46 against Reinhart, Verhaeghe, Barkov, 43, 44. So, you know, Sam Bennett on the second line at 30. But, you know, it was the Reinhart, Verhaeghe, Barkov line the most. And then it was Bennett, Tkachuk, you know, Lostary and Rodrigue. They kind of split it around a little bit. But, you know, that defense pairing of Forsling, Ekblad, actually, McDavid was on the ice 5 goals for, no goals against him. And then with Forsling, it was 4 goals for, 2 goals against. And, you know, so that's kind of weird. There obviously must have been a few, you know, where they're changing on the fly situations. But yeah, I just look at Ekblad's speed, and that's a mismatch if you're taking on McDavid. If they want to do Forsling, who plays with Ekblad, that's the advantage Edmonton. I wonder if we might see more of Jones Mikkola this year, because Mikkola's size and ranginess, and he's a decent skater, they might be the guys that get it. You know, might be more split rather than just one heavy dose.
Well, that's what you want. If you're Paul Maurice, you want 2 pairs that you can trust here, because especially this year, like 4 of the 7 games are in Edmonton, so he doesn't have last change. And that's, you know, like, I'm not a big worrier about home ice advantage, and I think the Oilers have proven me right so far in these playoffs. Like, they rolled through in, you know, pretty good stead here, and they haven't had home ice advantage once. But when you get to this point, Jay, right, when the teams are this good and this even, you know, that's when the little minutia of home ice advantage, an extra game of last change, right? You know, last year we watched this series. Game 7 played in Edmonton. It might not be the same deal, you know? So this home ice advantage right now, and it's kind of weird how it worked for Edmonton. You might know the last time a team had first 3 rounds on the road and the 4th round at home.
Yes, the LA Kings 2014 were the last team to do it. They won, and then the New Jersey Devils in 2012 did it, but they lost to the LA Kings.
Yeah. So it's a big deal. Like, now, I always say I don't care much about home ice advantage till we get to Game 7. Then I care a lot about it. And this has all the trappings of a 7-game series. You know, these are 2 awfully good teams. I'd be stunned if somebody rolled through this thing in 5.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably fair. Looking at the matchup from an Edmonton perspective. So the third line of Florida, that line's been dynamic for them. And you're not going to go like, well, hey, I guess if they, you know, lost Arena and Lundell, sure. You know, I know that Knobloch, he doesn't, and I asked him about it, he doesn't force matchups very often. He did like to get Draisaitl out against Eichel in games 4 and 5. You know, and got him about 70% of those 2 games, which is pretty high. But that third line of Florida has been really the difference maker in their series. If you look at the top lines of each team, but then the third line just murdered everybody in Carolina and in Toronto, specifically in Toronto. So I look, if you're the Oilers and you have Janmark and Podkolzin, I'm going to say for sure those guys are up against them. Then it comes down to, do you think you put Arvidsson there because he's played there? Or do you possibly put Connor Brown on that line and put Arvidsson with Henrique and Frederick?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not very often we're talking about matching up for a third line, are we?
No.
And that's why having a third line is that can produce points is so cool, because they generally get free reign. They generally get either the second or third pairing on defense, and they generally get one of your, third or fourth line to play against. So this is how Florida beats you on depth every year. So maybe you do. Maybe you have to say, I honestly, going into any series against Florida, Jay, I say tie that third line. Like if you get a tie against those guys, that's a win, man. I'll take it every day. If you handle them. So I kind of like Brown on my checking line. I think he's got the foot speed that I want for sure. I don't like, if you have rolling out a line of, who'd you say, Janmark, Brown, and Podkolzin?
Yeah.
Those are three guys that can skate for one. And that's the key here, is you got to be able to skate. Those are three guys who can really skate. And, Podkolzin's physical. Janmark can muck it up. Brown can play however you need. I don't mind that line. And to be honest, with the speed they have, they might break one off the other way and get something done for you offensively.
The defense core of the Oilers, this will only be game 2 that all 6 of them played together. The first was game 5 against Dallas. And Matthias Ekholm came in. The coach said that he exceeded expectations, but they were able to limit his minutes, right? Like they didn't have to say, oh my God, Matthias Ekholm's back. We have to use this guy or we got no chance to win. And which kind of shows me the depth, because he played 15 minutes and 52 seconds. Troy Stecher in his 6 games averaged 15 minutes and 57 seconds. He basically replaced Troy Stecher, albeit on a different pair. How much do you think we see Ekholm play here? Like, I don't know if he's just going to jump up and play, 23 or 24. Does next game, is this a progression? Maybe we get up to 17 or 18, or do you think they just stick at a comfortable level and not force things?
Well, I think we've seen a trend on this team. Like McDavid and Draisaitl's minutes are down too. They're not playing 25, 26 minutes on many nights like they used to a lot. I think they played in that Dallas game. Didn't they both come in the 20 minutes something, which is, pretty low for them in a big, big game. I think this is the best 6 defensemen, the best 3 pairs since when in Edmonton, Jay? Are we going back to the 80s here? Probably.
Yeah, maybe. That 06 run, anytime you got Chris Pronger, that's pretty good. And then, Smith and Staios and Spacek. Dick Tarnstrom played really well. I think people kind of forget that series.
He was kind of the Klingberg back then, eh?
Exactly. It totally was. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
but
sure.
You're right. Like someone would say, you take Wallman over Bergeron. Yes. So, yeah, I could see it, but they did have Pronger. It'd be close, right? Yeah, you go back to the 80s ones for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying depth, 1 through 6. Obviously, Pronger's a Hall of Fame defenseman, but I'm talking about, my point is this. Your third pair here in Edmonton now is Klingberg and Wallman. Go through the league and tell me how many teams those guys would be, how many second pairings around this league would you take over those guys? There's probably 12 or 15 second pairings they're no better than that pair.
Yeah.
That are no better. I mean, so my point is this, you don't have to have Ekholm play 26 minutes anymore. They can give minutes to everybody. They can spread it out. Kulak's this unsung, quiet guy. His name barely ever comes up. All he does is play well every night. He skates, he checks, he can move a puck. Nurse is having his best year ever. Bouchard's playing as well as Bouchard can play. Ekholm's his partner. And Wallman and Klingberg are both, they can handle themselves. So I don't see any point that Ekholm has to play 24, 25 minutes right now, unless somebody goes down.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. Mark Spector joins us, Sports 1440. Lastly, Spec, the calmness around the order, it's very different this year compared to last year heading into the Cup. There's a quiet confidence. I think the fact they played fewer games, they haven't really been as Dallas and Vegas, hard series, but they weren't pushed, right? It was 5-5. There was no 6. There was no 7. The Oilers were never I guess they trailed game 1 against Dallas, but they never really felt in trouble in either series. And so mentally, I just don't the players last year, I remember God, some of those guys look like death. Right? No one really looks like they're worn down yet.
No, and we don't know how badly guys were hurt last year, but you do know they played 7 against Vancouver, got 0 break, played 6 hard games against Dallas in a series that was much closer. It seemed like in game, right? The games were way more hotly contested. and then went right into a cup against, to me, the big advantage last year, they went into a cup against a team that had just played in a cup, and they were where Edmonton is today. So I think it's a huge advantage when you're Florida last year and Edmonton coming in for their first time. That's a huge advantage for Florida, because you're right. We all see the difference in the Oilers, the way they celebrated in Dallas, the way they're handling themselves. So that advantage doesn't exist anymore. You could say Florida knows how to win and Edmonton doesn't. And until Edmonton wins, that's a fair thing to say. Now, Edmonton got 7 games last year. I don't think there's a whole lot left to learn. So yes, that advantage of Florida was there and Edmonton wasn't. That doesn't exist anymore. Home ice advantage, that doesn't exist anymore. A better defense, I thought that was a big deal last year. Broberg coming in for Desharnais in the Dallas series, and Broberg had barely played in the league. That doesn't exist anymore. Edmonton's depth scoring, they were still a team that the big boys carried a bit. That doesn't exist anymore. I think there's, I'm not telling you Edmonton's walking through Florida, but I am saying a lot of the holes we saw in them 12 months ago, they don't exist anymore. Those holes are gone. So, one of them is for sure. That's a big deal. When you're going back to that cup, you feel way more comfortable than someone who's never been there before. So Florida, they're going to get, I'm not saying Florida can't win, but they're going to get a tougher Edmonton team. They're not going to get up any 3-0 leads here. This is going to be a far more hotly contested series, I think.
It's going to be fun, Spec. Look forward to it. We'll see you down at Media Day tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm very much. Good, I know you're always trying to get the most bold questions, so I'm very, very excited to see what it'll be tomorrow.
I hate those media days, man. There's just too much of too much. It's like we get all 20 guys on each team. Oh my gosh, it makes me just want to drop a puck here. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, we're getting closer, Spec. Getting closer. We're only 49 hours from puck drop. 49.
Oh boy, that building's going to be fun here.
Oh,
it's going to be a fun building, man. And
wow, the city.
That's another one. Edmonton 6-1 at home in the playoffs, and the only one they lost. Draisaitl put that goal in his own net. I know Florida's a good road team. They haven't played in Rogers Place yet, right? They scored 12 goals in 2 games in Scotiabank Arena. This ain't Scotiabank Arena, folks. It's going to be a whole different deal playing on the road in this rink.
Spec, we will see you tomorrow at the game.
Sounds good.
There you go. That's Mark Spector. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you alongside Declan Kruger. Take a quick break. When we return, what goes on, players, a little bit about what happens, on the plane in the playoffs. It was quite comical listening to one player discuss his goal to try to grit through one of the longest books ever written. Discuss that when we return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
What does excellence truly mean, and how does it guide your choices? At Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't just a goal, it's their standard. They shine in every aspect, from top-tier customer satisfaction in sales and service to impressive inventory, strong customer loyalty, and prices that are tough to match. Experience the dedication to quality firsthand at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
I'm tired of waking up tired.
Waking up tired. Are you tired of waking up tired? Come visit our sleep experts at the Brick Mattress Store. Get Canada's guaranteed lowest prices on all things sleep. Plus, try your new mattress for 6 months. If you don't love it, we'll find one you do. Some conditions apply. Stop waking up tired. Get the right mattress, guaranteed. Only at the Brick Mattress Store.
Jumpstart your summer with Wendy's delicious drinks. Enjoy a small iced coffee, frosty chino, or frosty fizz for only $1.99. But hurry, get your $1.99 small drink at participating Wendy's, only available until June 29th. Taxes extra.
For a rock-solid start on all your spring and summer projects, Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete to septic tanks, precast water pads to outhouses, plus aggregates, landscaping supplies, and more. Renos, construction. Start planning right now at BashawConcrete.com or call 780-372-3854. That's 780-372-3854. Family owned and operated, proudly serving Albertans since 1963. Bashaw Concrete Products.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell. Get your power play amped up with eWell, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. eWell.ca is your partner in power.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.527. Welcome back. Quick short break as we roll through on a lovely Monday afternoon. Kind of a quiet night in sports. Of course, getting set for the NFL and the NBA to drop the puck Wednesday, tip off on Thursday. CFL season gets going Thursday. You have, if you're looking for some sports, though, you got the Edmonton Riverhawks, who, of course, are back in action for another season. So we'll talk to numerous members, coach, GM, head of marketing all year long. Very much looking forward to it because guess what? Tomorrow night, the home opener. Perfect timing. They got a home opener right before the Stanley Cup Finals. Because some of you are going to be nervous. You're like, God, I just want to get the game. I just want to get to the game. Well, here's a perfect way to spend some time on a Tuesday night down in the River Valley at the Ball Diamond and check out the Riverhawks as they open up against Victoria. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you play there. So perfect. Got the Elks on Saturday. Got the Stingers coming up on the 6th. So there is lots and lots of sports to get to. Now let's talk a little hockey as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey. The FSL will provide a platform for U12, U14, and now U16 girls to help develop and improve their skills. The PWHL is expanding. They want to expand with them, give you more opportunities to play. That's the Female Super League. As we welcome in from NHL.com, covers the Oilers and the Jets, the Canucks, but obviously only be in the Oilers here for a while. Derek Van Diest joins us. DVD, how you doing?
Good, Jason. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good, man. When you work for the league and you're covering this, what's the expectations? Like, you got to do more features. You got to do like fun stuff, sidebars. What are you doing different for a Stanley Cup final than you would in the regular season?
Yeah, I think it's a little more featurey stuff. I think you get to delve into the players a little bit more. You get to kind of, there's so many guys, so many people here kind of covering this tournament. We have a guy that does the nuts and bolts. We have Jerry that comes in there and he does the game story, what happened in the game. But I think the rest of us are just trying to kind of get to showcase the players and what they are and what they do and things like that. So it's a lot of fun in that regard that you get to see guys and you get to talk to them, and so many guys are so excited to be here. I had a good chat with Jeff Skinner today. He was so excited about just playing. So it's a little bit of that. You're just trying to promote the final. You're trying to find some good stories and you're trying to make things interesting. So I think that's the goal coming into the Stanley Cup Finals here, because we do have a lot of guys on staff and we do have a lot of people coming in for this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Don't you guys have your own flight, right? Kind of.
Well, it's not just for NHL.com. I think the ESPN guys are on there, or the TNT guys are on there. A bunch of it's the people that need to be between locales right away. Like they need to the crews are on there. So it's not just NHL.com people. It's media people and things like rights holders are on there as well. So. So we got a bit of a charter flight, which is nice, obviously, going from here to Florida. So, last year, I think we made that flight 4 times. So towards the end, it got a little taxing. But, it's nice not to fly commercial for a change, because, some of you can have nightmares on trying to get places commercial out of Edmonton.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you that. Yes, looking at flight options for games 4 and 6 potentially for me. So although I think I do know there's a local group of guys who are chartering a plane, so I think I've got a seat on that one. So same as last
that'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice. That charter last year was really good. Like Game 7 last year was fun because so many Edmontonians went down there. Half the rink was Edmontonians last year. So it was a lot of fun. I had some friends that came down. So yeah, so hopefully if it ends here this time. Like, my goal is just get the charter to end in Edmonton. That way I don't have to worry about coming home. If the series ends in Florida, then I have to find my own way home. That happened in 2006 when we kind of forgot that there was no charter. So there was a media charter back then. So the media was going back and forth. And then it ended in Carolina and no one had a flight booked out of Carolina because we all assumed the charter was going to take us home to Edmonton. And they said, no, the charter's done. Once the series is done, the charter's done. You guys have to find your own way home.
Rookies.
So we're all scrambling,
you won't do that again.
No.
When you look, you've had time now to break down the series. We've known who's going to play each other since last Thursday. What do you see as the keys for the Oilers and then the keys for the Panthers?
Well, I think the key for the Oilers, number one, it's going to be goaltending. I think you need the good Stuart Skinner to show up. You can't let Stuart Skinner can't let the one bad goal a game. Like to me, that people ask me about Stuart Skinner. Was he a good goalie? He's a bad goalie. I think he's a good goalie that has bad moments. And I think you got to get rid of those bad moments. You can't let in the one bad goal. And we saw the one in Dallas. It didn't burn him, but it made that game probably a little tighter than it should have been. If he plays solid and makes the saves he's supposed to and doesn't let in the bad goals, that's going to be a huge thing because at the other end, Bobrovsky's going to make some incredible saves. Like, he's just capable of doing that. He's going to make some big saves. Stuart Skinner's capable of doing that as well. But I think the Oilers would be happy. Says, just don't let in the bad goal. And I think sometimes that creeps into his game when he's not playing well. You can almost tell if Stuart Skinner's on or not, because I think when he's on, he's solid. He's square to the puck. He's facing the shooter. When he's off, he's kind of sliding around. He's diving around all over the place. And it's just a little tweak thing. So I think it starts there. Stuart Skinner, if we wins the goaltending battle, we have even goaltending battle, I think that fares well for the Oilers. Number two, I think is the Panthers going to find ways to score. Like they have guys, three lines that are going right now. But I don't think they've played as physical a defense as they'll face against the Oilers. Like, these guys can run you. These guys are strong in front of the net. I think Toronto had a particularly physical defense. I don't think Carolina Hurricanes had a particularly physical defense. So these guys didn't have problems getting to the net, standing at the net. You couldn't get them out from in front of the net. So, but I think that's a little different with Edmonton. Edmonton has guys that can move you, has guys that can hit you. So I think that's going to be a big thing too. And then, of course, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, if they can kind of do what they've done all year, Florida's got to find a way to stop them. Like, if you look at that and say, okay, well, Draisaitl and McDavid are probably going to combine for at least 2 goals a night, then you're basically down 2-0 when you step on the ice. So they got to find, if you're Florida Panthers, you got to find a way to limit them. It's going to be tough because you've been there. You've seen the look in Connor McDavid's eye. You've seen the way Leon Draisaitl is focused. It's going to be tough to deny him 2 years in a row, just the way they're focused right now. So, I like the Oilers going into the series. They look like a more mature, a confident team. We've been there before. We know what it takes to win. It's just a matter of getting the job done.
Derek Van Diest joins us. Matthias Ekholm coming back definitely softens the blow of the loss of Zach Hyman. I know they play different positions, but you're losing something up front, but you're gaining something on the back end. So it evens it out a little bit. McDavid's healthy this year. Draisaitl's healthier than they were last year. Kane is. You got a few other guys here. Kapanen has come in here, and I think maybe played the best hockey of his life in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and he's been exceptional. Janmark, year after year, has shown he's a player who almost seems better suited for the playoffs, right? The games are more intense and focused, and he doesn't make many mistakes in the regular season. He just seems to be around the puck more, and he scores on breakaways in the playoffs. That's the difference. He doesn't score on breakaways in the regular season, but remember when he missed that one by 6 feet? Oh my God. I still laugh at that. But in the playoffs, the guy's money. And I look at a guy like, there always got to be somebody who's an unheralded, big moment in a series. Who do you see as the unheralded big moment guy for the Oilers?
That's a good question. Yeah, you're right. They have a lot of guys that do step up their game. I'd like to see Trent Frederick and see what he can do, like in the big stage. Like this is a guy that they brought in, and I know he like that high ankle sprain. It was tough for him to get over, but I think this is a guy that can make a difference. Like if he can get in on the forecheck, if he can be physical, if he can be the guy that the Oilers brought in to be that guy, to be that big strong guy in front of the net, be that big strong winger. He could make a difference. But I do like playoff Janmark. Like he elevates his game in the playoffs. Like I call him regular season Janmark and playoff Janmark. That's why he earned a contract last year for what he did in the playoffs. You're right about Kasperi Kapanen. This is a guy that when he was with the Leafs, everyone thought, oh, he's going to be a great player. He's going to be here for a long time. But can you imagine being him? Because you were waived and then you picked up by a team and you go to the Stanley Cup final. Like you talk about hitting the jackpot there. So yeah, I think those two guys are going to have to be difference makers. And a lot is said in these playoffs, Stanley Cup finals, that sometimes the top two lines cancel each other out, whether they both score the same amount of goals. And it really matters to what your third and fourth line does. Florida's got a very good third line, and I think the Oilers kind of have to match that. But I think they can't be even. I think if the Oilers want to win this series, their third and fourth line have to outplay Florida's third and fourth line. And I think that's going to be a big difference in the series.
DVD, quickly, when you look at the story outside the NHL, we're into June. We're less than a month away from free agency, and the Oilers. We're going to go a sec and just talk a little bit about the summer coming up potentially for Stan Bowman. We know that Evan Bouchard is going to get a big raise. It's just going to be a matter of how much is he going to get, but. Corey Perry, Jeff Skinner, Connor Brown, Kapanen, and Frederick are all UFAs. How many do you think return to Edmonton next year? Perry, Skinner, Brown, Kapanen, Frederick, amongst the forwards.
Well, I think you bring back Brown because I think he does a lot. I think Skinner's gone. I'm not sure about Frederick yet. I don't know if he's shown them enough to kind of stick around. I think just based on what Corey Perry did, unless someone offers him way too much money, which might happen, like you look at what he's done, someone might say, hey, we're on the cusp of getting to the Stanley Cup final. Corey Perry gets there every year. Maybe we bring him in and we get there as well. I think that's the guy that they'd want to keep here. And yeah, the other two guys, I don't know. It's the Oilers don't have a lot coming through the system to replace some of these guys, right? So if they end up winning this thing, do you want to bring the gang back together and go for another shot to try it again? So yeah, there's going to be a lot of decisions made. I think the number one decision is obviously Bouchard, but they got to sign Connor McDavid as well. They got to give him that contract just to get it out of the way. They don't want to go into the season with him.
He can sign when Draisaitl sign. I'm not. Yeah, I think extension is like the most obvious foregone conclusion. It's just what's the number going to be?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just what's the number. Yeah, he's going to sign, but what's the number? And then you got to play from there. So I think that's the thing is once you got that guy out of the way, then everything kind of falls into pieces. And then it depends what you got at the bottom. Like what do you have left? Do you have something left to sign? Kasperi Kapanen or Frederick or I do think they'd want to keep Corey Perry. He's had a fantastic year. I don't think you want to overpay him or go give him too much extension or term. But I think it's going to be. I think there's some teams out there looking and saying, "Hey, Corey Perry's a guy that can get you over the top. Maybe he can be the Brad Marchand here of the Western Conference." So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, there's going to be decisions. But this is what he did in Chicago, right? Like he was able to move those pieces in Chicago and keep that thing running for a little longer than maybe it would have otherwise. So he was able to shuffle in, shuffle out guys. The only difference is I don't think he's got much in the cupboard in the way of minor leaguers, like guys coming up from the AHL. So I think, they're going to have to kind of try and piece together something for next season.
Oh, they'll be looking for guys around, league minimum $1 million deals and away you go, right? Like I wouldn't be shocked if Kasperi Kapanen was like, hey, I'll resign for $1 million. Like no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And the thing is though, like if you have a good final, that can really boost your stock, right? Like everyone's watching you, watching you play, and you have a great final. And people go, "Whoa, he's capable of doing that. Maybe that we should sign that guy."
Yeah, like John Klingberg. John Klingberg is the one guy who might get a decent raise if he wants it as a free agent.
Yeah, for sure. He's having a great season. Yeah, great season, great playoffs. Like he's been so much better than expected. I remember John Klingberg when he was at his best in Dallas, and this is very close to the way he played in Dallas.
Yes. No, very true. DVD, we'll see you at the rink, man. Enjoy Media Day tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite the circus. I'm already getting texts from people from out of town. I don't know if you are too, but out of town media is coming in. They're already texting me, asking me what's going on tonight. So it's gonna be a fun couple weeks, I guess.
Oh yeah, well, send me a note, DVD. I think I know where you might be.
All right, sounds good.
There you go. That's
All right.
And Deist, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll hear from Matthias Ekholm, Darla Nurse, head coach Chris Knobloch, and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer. Woo! Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
A fire ban is now in place for northern and central parts of Alberta where wildfire danger is extreme. Because of hot, windy conditions, wood-burning fires are not permitted on public or private land. For more information about bans or restrictions in your area, visit albertafirebans.ca. To report wildfires in the forest protection area, call 310-FIRE. That's 310-FIRE. A message from the Government of Alberta.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I know there's no such thing as a free lunch, but when you bring your used RV to No Bull, I'll give you a free roof assessment. Now, what do I mean by that? It means we'll climb up and take a real close look at all the joints and connections and seals on your roof, and give you a written report on what's going on up there.
How often do people get up on the roof of their RV, Rick?
Not often enough, Bob. You should do this twice a year.
Would I know what to look for if I did it myself?
Maybe. Depends on how experienced you are in RV maintenance. But remember, there's no free lunch. There's a 1 out of 10 chance I'm going to sell you something. But what I want to sell you is a small repair. The kind we catch before there's a lot of water damage, rather than the kind that costs you thousands once the leak is visible from the inside. And 9 times out of 10, the assessment is really free. And it's also free to know you'll be safe and dry this camping season.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
If you bleed orange and blue and you're not using the all-new Play Alberta Sports and Casino app, then you're missing out. It's the only online sportsbook with odds boosts on all Oilers games. And now, it's not just sports. Play the slots, hit the tables, buy lottery tickets, all in one app, all across Alberta. Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and use promo code GOAL for a $100 bonus. That's promo code GOAL!
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Bank Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers Score and Win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers Hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave in 118th.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
5:47. How are you, Jason Gregor? Connor Halley. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Man, the text line has been, I can't get to all the text today. Sorry. Just coming in. We try to reply to, a little bit here and there and read some of them, but that's okay. It's a good problem. It is a good problem to have. So thanks so much for listening to the show. You're all fired up, of course. Can't wait for Wednesday's show. We might have some open line time on the day of the game. We did it before. We've had people texting, Gregor, the day you open up the lines for an hour, we won. You got to do it again. Start the series. Fair point, even though I'm not superstitious. But so many of you asked, then we'll do it. So on Wednesday, we'll have get your thoughts from the listeners. And we'll decide, Cons, we'll announce it tomorrow what hour we'll do it in. Either the first hour, the second hour, or the third hour. One of the top three is when we'll do it for sure. So away you go. Now, let's get to a few of the thoughts from the head coach, Chris Knobloch, on his team. Con, you got a few of those ready? Yeah. All right. Perfect. All right. Perfect. Now, let's go with the big news. He did play last game, Matthias Ekholm. And Chris Knobloch just, on Ekholm's return, was he surprised at all? And where does he see his minutes going in the Stanley Cup Final?
His first game, he exceeded expectations. And when I say that, just because you never know what you're going to get from a player coming back from an injury. He'd been out for weeks, and then to come in to play against Dallas, who's a good team, high-paced playoff game. He looked very comfortable, made a lot of nice plays, and looked a lot like we're accustomed to seeing Eki play, because he's a heck of a player, and you never know if he's going to be able to pick that up right away. It looked like he was able to pick that up right away. He played, I believe, 15, almost 16 minutes that night. Can he play some more minutes? Absolutely. Can he play 30? Probably not there yet, but over 20, yes.
Over 20? So could we see him right back to number one minutes? It'll be interesting because basically he played the same amount of minutes, 15-50 that Troy Stetcher had averaged in his games. Different pair, but basically used in a very similar role. And obviously, if you can play Ekholm a few more minutes, it's going to make, in theory, your team a little bit better. But, Nurse and Kulak were unreal together in that game. I know Kulak made one. People want to focus on that. Look at everything else. Look at Kulak was on for 2 shots against the whole game, right? Him and Nurse together were on for 1 shot against. And that was when Kulak just, made a rare error for him. So, because if you look at his overall numbers in the playoffs, they've been, again, Kulak, very solid in the postseason. What about the defensive unit and how he sees them shaping up against this Florida team?
We like our 6 defensemen, adding the guys that we do have, even our depth guys. Last year, we didn't have Stetcher available. He was dealing with an injury. Ty Emerson being available. Obviously, Klingberg and Wallman being the additions to our team. They've been playing fantastic for us. So as a group, we like our defense. Nothing against our defense last year. There's a little bit of a changeover, but the way these guys are playing right now and the personnel that we have of type of players, we like that.
Yeah, how could you not? It's been very good. And then lastly, from his perspective, just the mood around the room and how different maybe it is to last season.
We have a different mood. One, last year was new to us. We didn't know what the Stanley Cup Finals were going to be like. But also the way we went into this, Game 6 against Dallas, we didn't play our best game. We did win it, but it wasn't our strongest game. A little bit different. Game 5, we had the lead throughout. Felt good about that. But I think just with probably the biggest change in the mood is just, we've been here before. We've done the press conferences. We've answered the question about what it's like to be in the Stanley Cup Final. We know what to expect. We've seen this team before. There's a lot of familiar things about this. So I think everyone was just I don't want to say regular thing, but we're accustomed to it.
Yeah, they are. And it is definitely different. Got a lot of text line in 833-401-1440. Hey, Greg, as a media guy, what is media day like? Well, it's a lot more congested. I'll say that. And I understand it. You're right. You got lots of people coming in. Usually when you're covering a series, there's media from each city. And, in the conference final, there's a few more, national guys. You get to the Stanley Cup final and it's everybody. And then, so there's, sometimes, you have a story angle that you want, and sometimes it requires you to ask 2 or 3 questions about it, but you only get one. So that's what makes it challenging at times. So I find I'm not going to, I have a secret on what I like to do, and I'll do it again tomorrow. And in the past, it's worked for me and allowed me to get what I want. So I have a plan going in, and hopefully, because if you don't have a plan, you're screwed. So I've learned from, this will be my, third Stanley Cup for the Oilers. I've covered a few other ones, but third one where you're covering it from start to finish. So it'll be, it should be a little bit smoother for me. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Sean Brown, of all of our guests, if you missed anything, go to jasongregor.com. The individual interviews are there, or go to anywhere where you get your podcasts, and you can download today's show. Jake Wallman, Spec, DVD. We had David Beard, really excellent one for football fans with a mixture of football and hockey. So check it out. Let's get to the Common Sports 1440 update is here. Good night.
The Sports 1440 update.
The Tampa Bay Lightning have signed forward Yanni Gourde to a 6-year contract extension with an AAV of $2.33 million. Gourde, 33, spent time with the Lightning and Kraken last year, finishing with 7 goals and 31 points. And the Florida Panthers captain, Alexander Barkov, has won the 2024-25 Selkie Trophy, recognizing the forward who best excels in the defensive aspects of the game. He also took home the King Clancy Trophy, given to the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice. Major League Baseball, the Jays off today, back in action tomorrow, kicking off the series against the Phillies. Heading into the 5th in Miami, the Marlins up on the Rockies 4-3. Angels have a 3-0 lead over the Red Sox in the 3rd. Heading into the 3rd, Reds and Brewers tied at 2 apiece. And in the 1st, Tigers got a great start, leading the White Sox 3-0. Later tonight, Padres in San Francisco. The Athletics host the Twins, and the Mets taking on the Dodgers. News from the NFL today. Detroit Lions center Frank Regno, 4-time Pro Bowl selection in his 7 years, announced his retirement on social media. The 29-year-old was a first-round pick by the Lions back in 2018, also a 3-time All-Pro. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it is Fox Sports Radio. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius and Brandon Douglas. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.